another Friday, another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. How is everybody doing out there? You guys know me, at least I hope you do. And if you don't, my name is Spencer or Mav, depending on how you know me. And I am your handsome host for this show where we, take some time to deep dive into some topics that might not get discussed in depth around our sort of sphere. So tokusatsu, anime, comic books, because we know nobody reads those anymore. But yeah, if you've been here before, you know how the show goes. If you're new here, I welcome you. I'm happy to see you. And yeah, let's get the show going. We have a lot to talk about tonight. I actually went into this episode, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh God, what am I going to talk about? There's so much to talk about, or there's so little to talk about. I feel like nothing happened this week. And I just did a review of all the news and it's like, oh, of course, we should probably talk about the Game Awards. We should probably there's a little Marvel talk to be had. And of course, I've got a big Spider Corner is back because we have another issue of Zeb Wells' crap amazing run. And I have thoughts. I have lots of thoughts on it. But before we get into that, let's say hi to the chat and then, take it from there. So obviously the first one here tonight was Tehillim saying shalom and good to see you all. Hey, always a pleasure to see you, my man. I'm glad you're here. My friend Zero, he's here to shit on Keighly. Hey, so here's the thing. Up until probably this Game Awards, I was a pretty big fan of Keighly. I thought he was just, of course, things were the Game Awards were cheesy and he did a lot of dumb publicity things, but that's just part of being sort of an entertainer in the business, right? And Keighly to me always sort of seemed genuine, but after last night, and we'll get into it, I'm just you got to stop, man, or you need to at least take a step back and find your roots. You know what I mean? We've also got Joy. She's saying hi, but I also know she's only stopping in for a second before she has other plans. So hi. We've also got my boy Timon saying, hey, yo, his painting experiments failed. The source of the candy red paint goes on, or the search for the candy red paint goes on. What are you trying to paint? Your models, your Kamen Rider models? Dude, I've never really painted models. I've painted 3. Back when I was a kid, when I was 10 to 13, I did a lot of Gundam models, especially Gundam Wing models, right? Obviously, because that was what Toonami played all the time. But at one point, I eventually was like, why don't mine look like that? And, put it together. They were painting. So I went out with my mom and I got model paints and brush pens. But I was 12. I didn't know how to take care of these things. So I painted 1 or 2 models and then they dried out. And I didn't take care of them, so I should probably pay my mom back for that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel really bad that I wasted that money. But that's been my experience with painting. I know it is hard, so don't get yourself down. I don't know anything about picking specific paints. I figure it's just all trial and error. But yeah, Timon says he wants to paint Char's Zaku too with candy red. Ooh, that'll be so beautiful, dude. That's almost like what the what is that called? Full Frontals Gundam, Suzabi, the Suzabi, right, in Unicorn. That thing has the best paint, red paint job ever. It's so striking, it's so bright. I love the Suzabi. I wish there's a $500 model, a master grade, I think, that is the Suzabi, but then it's got its huge deploy jet engine back, right? Oh, it looks so cool. Someday, I'm going to paint that. Ravul. Oh, Ravul is also here. Hey, oh man, I thought you were Zero because your names are showing up in the chat as the same color. How's it going, man? Yes, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon best action game. We will get to all that, but let's just say very well deserved if you actually kind of care about it. It's a very complicated topic, and we'll get to it. Don't worry. Yes, Tehillim says, I really like that God of War Ragnarok is getting free DLC. I do think that was probably one of the better parts of the show and honestly a highlight. I don't like the new God of War series. I didn't play Ragnarok, did not enjoy my brief time with 2018. It's not for me. You guys, if you know me, you know that I hate cinematic games. I hate games that have gear systems where it's oh, you got to upgrade your axe with this gem for plus 0.01% damage against green rocks. That stuff pisses me off. It annoys me. Just any Western cinematic game, I'm kind of just out on. So, but I do know that the game has Sorry, I had an itch. I know that the game has a lot of fans. Like, so I'm not. If you like it, play it. I'm happy for you. I will give the DLC announcement this. It is what I see as like a good sort of turn for the industry. Like, we don't need to be nickel and diming everybody. I'm glad that somebody, especially a developer whose title is so big, like God of War is huge. Everybody knows God of War. And for a developer like Sony Santa Monica to say, okay, we're going to give you this for free, our biggest title yet that won all these awards, that swept everything, we're going to give you a free DLC for it. That's significant. And it's not just like costumes or a what was that from Zelda, from Ocarina of Time, the Master Quest mode where it just like flipped everything in reverse. Like, this is substantial. So I think that's a good development for the business end of this era. This Zazabi, is it Zazabi or Suzabi? It's probably Zazabi. That sounds a lot cooler anyway. I want to start calling it that. Zero says, when the best thing it had was Sega promising to revive multiple franchises, you know that show was fucked. Oh yeah. Like, again, we're gonna get into it. I know I just talked about God of War, but we'll get into it. Don't worry. Zero says, meaning you're gonna hate the fuck out of Kojima's new game. Don't worry, I already hate it too. So that's like, you know what? Let's just get into the Game Awards, right? Let's see. Do I even have any? What do I look at, guys? What should we pull up to look at? All right, here I have an article from. Let me adjust everything over here so that we can all look at everything. So pretty. All right. So let's transition over. All right, let's talk the Game Awards. Let's actually get into this. And yes, everybody, you can see that tonight's stream buddy is Godzilla from the new Godzilla X Kong trailer, which I know it has a lot of people divided. It looks a little goofy, but I'm going to be real with you. This design, this like color scheme, this obvious power up to Godzilla, it hypes something in my bones. It's that glowing, it's that pink energy. I don't know, like it's very Dragon Ball Z, and I think that's probably why I like it. I don't know. Pink Godzilla is cool to me. I know a lot of people. I saw so many dumb complaints that people were like, "Oh, why is Godzilla pink now? Is he trans? Is he gay now?" And I'm like, "Are we for? Are we really doing like the color association thing? Means like what about Goku Black? Like Goku Black is like Super Saiyan Rose. Like he is all pink, or just like." I'm looking at my Super Saiyan 4 figure, right? And this is I mean, it's more red, but it's still got like that pink tone to it, that pink shade. It's so dumb. It just children out there, children. But so let's get to, yeah, it is weird that he runs so fast for Fool. I am with you there. Like I said, it's weird. It's not gonna I'm not gripped by it yet. I will probably watch it because Monkey Smash and Lizard Smash, like, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not necessarily going to. Hold on 1 second. All right, dog situation. You guys all know how that goes. I'm also like dog sitting for a friend, so and he's a little yappy, so he sets all of my other dogs off. So if it might happen throughout the stream, so just give me like 2 or 3 second breaks here and there. But yeah, like I admit I will go see the movie. I don't have a lot of high expectations for it. Honestly, if I just get good sort of fighting out of it, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be like that. As sort of whack of a movie as Godzilla versus Kong was, the aircraft carrier fight was really cool, and then the Mecha Godzilla fight at the end. Like, if you go watch a cut of that where they don't keep cutting away to all the like human characters that are interspersed, it's actually a pretty good flowing action scene. Also, I don't know if Josh is in the chat now, but I know we've been talking about this. Get Millie Bobby Brown out of this franchise. Like, she's so boring. Her character adds nothing. And honestly, in Godzilla vs. Kong, the black podcaster guy, that, like, the conspiracy dude who worked at Monarch, that guy is a good character on his own. You don't need to team him up with Stranger Kid and Simp, because, like, and that's the other thing. So, like, Millie Bobby Brown in Godzilla vs. Kong, and then her sidekick podcast, who I just learned the other day is the Fire Kid from Deadpool 2. But if you look at their characters, like they're essentially one character split into two, so neither of them really exist on their own. They kind of can only exist together, and it's just, I don't know, that entire arc is, or that entire bit of the story is really weird to me. I get it's star power and you're linking everything back up, but get her out of here. She probably doesn't even want to be doing this anymore. Just get her out of here. Also, next time you make like a Mecha Godzilla cockpit room, fill it out a little more than just like public television sci-fi room. You know what? You guys remember what I'm saying here? I wonder if I can find a picture of it, because it always bugs me. Mecha Godzilla pilot. Oh, this is going to give me all the stuff from like Final Wars and Against Mecha. Godzilla versus Kong, Mecha Godzilla pilot. Maybe that'll give me something. Ah, you're all annoying. You give me nothing. Nothing. I know nothing. This is really going to bug me until I find it. So I'm going to go to here. And we're going to go to here. Godzilla. Type that in. Or is the site going to take 5 years to get? No, it worked. While I search, let's look at the chat. What are you guys saying? Flex. Oh, hey, dude. What's up, Flex? He says, heading up Godzilla -1 tomorrow. So pumped. Dude, I have heard nothing but good things about this movie. I think I'm going to watch it tomorrow as well. I actually... it's a very rare win for sort of our sphere and good movies in general, because the move, like -1 was initially supposed to leave theaters yesterday, like literally like a 2-week run, if that, right? And obviously it started blowing away everybody's loving it, so now they've extended it to like, I think to January. Like they're going far for it. So good news to anybody who didn't get a chance to check it out, because now, like, definitely do it. Yeah, I want to see it so very bad, because I've heard, yeah, like I just said, nothing but good things. Man, I can't find a good shot of this stupid control, because it was like it's like a Godzilla skull. Remember, guys, if you've seen the movie, I don't know, it's not coming up. But instead of that, I can at least show. Can I? If the internet will load, if my connection is strong enough. Let's see. Timon says, don't like pink Godzilla. It should not have been dark red. Pink is not menacing. It's not menacing, but I also don't think these American ones are... After Godzilla versus Kong, you don't really have menacing anymore. You know what I mean? I think they're going more on in the angle that like Toho went in the early 2000s, late 90s, where it's a lot more spectacle and explosion and fighting the monsters against each other, rather than like thematic. Like, if you want the themes and you want like deep storytelling with Godzilla, you go see -1. If you want to just see Monk versus Lizard fight each other, and maybe occasionally Rebecca Hall appears on screen and you have to ask yourself, is that actually her? It doesn't look like her. Then go see the American ones. Like, see, I liked this bit of the Mecha Godzilla piloting. It's so cool. It's all neon. It's like Tron-ish, but then they don't capitalize on, like, they don't. This is gonna bug me until I show you guys, because it shouldn't be that hard. Like Antarctica. Man, this is like the dumbest segment I've ever had, and it's not for lack of trying. Godzilla versus Kong, Mecha Godzilla reveal. Let's try that. Mecha Godzilla reveal scene. Will this be it?
Yes, Robo Godzilla.
No, don't talk. Don't ruin things. We're doing something right now. Man, this is totally going to be one of those things where you have to like. Oh no, is that it? No, that's just the room Mecha Godzilla's in. There's like a room with like a skull, and I know it. I can see it in my head, and for some reason nobody wants to put it up here. Because why? Why do you make me look so foolish? Yeah, I got to take the L on this one. Otherwise, we're going to be here like all night while I try to search for it. But if you go back and you watch Godzilla versus Kong, the pilot, like the actual room this dude is sitting in, like this is a skull of like a Godzilla or like a fake skull, but then the entire room is empty and sterile. It's so I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Uh, let's see. Let's see. What have we got? What have we got? Do-do-do-do. Uh, Oh wow, there's a lot I missed. Okay, so don't like Pink Godzilla. We got there. Yeah, no kids in monster movies. I'm not against kids in monster movies because that's what a lot of the old Toho Japan like movies were. They have a lot of kid characters. Again, the problem is in how you use them, and they don't use Millie Bobby Brown. She's not doing anything. She is just there to be star power. Like for example, you like there in the same movie you kind of have that good example, that good dynamic, right? You have her, and then you have the little deaf girl who hangs out with Kong. I like her. I think she's adorable. I like her whole arc with Kong. I think she interacts with him well. I think it all makes sense. With Millie, she's just there. On the like remember Godzilla 2014? The best scene in that movie is when not Jake Gyllenhaal, Pietro, Aaron Taylor Johnson. When Aaron Taylor Johnson is in Hawaii and he's trying to get back to America, and all of a sudden, like the lights go out, a tsunami monsoon wave comes, Godzilla starts like, and then you like Godzilla starts stepping on the runway in the airport, but you only see his feet and only see the destruction. And then there's like that kid that gets sort of like separated from his parents, and Quicksilver has to help him out, and he like, or he doesn't have to, but he like starts protecting him. Like kids can have like, that's a good use of a kid in this sort of movie. They can have their roles. You just have to actually do something with them instead of just having them be there. You know, it's like Marvel, where, oh yeah, you guys want this character, that character, this character. Okay, here they are. Okay, well now what are we gonna do with them? We haven't worked out that contract dispute. Blah 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 blah. Let's see. Ravul said Stranger Things kids are really annoying. I actually kind of have to agree with that. I've not been a fan of any of the like kids who've come out of that show, like their personalities. They've just nobody to really glom on. Nobody who I've really been like, I like you. Like, good for you, kid. I want to see more. You know, nobody's given me like that Iman Vellani sort of like encouragement to me. That makes no sense. But like, I haven't found an actor here that I can, or like I can relate to, or in Stranger Things that I can relate to or want to see succeed like Iman Vellani. The skull controlling the dude is so stupid. Also, they recreate a power source. Oh, to recreate a power source, you only needed a frequency. What? That whole thing, I like. That's something I really wish America would sort of stop trying to do, which is give hyper like technobabble realistic explanations as to how something happens. You know, I would very much prefer we go back to the classic just MacGuffin's way of telling stories, right? Where it's like, oh shoot, how did he get that like I thought that power source couldn't be created, and it's like, well, they found a way, or they had it hidden. There was another. You don't always need to have some sort of like realistic explanation for anything, especially when you're dealing with a giant monkey who goes into the center of the earth and grabs a battle axe made out of a giant lizard's ancient scale, powered by like primal. And you know, it's okay to be silly and goofy and let some things slide in these movies. So, but when you do something like that and you point it out, when you bring attention to it, and you're like, oh yeah, we've got an explanation for that. Well, now you open it up to scrutiny. Now everybody's gonna go, but wait, that explanation doesn't work here. Da, 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 da. But if you sort of just go, it's here. They found it. They had it in a vault somewhere. Yada yada yada. You go, boom, done. We can move on, right? And I mean, like, that's just a problem with the sort of franchise building world we're in right now, where everything is an origin story for thing, right? That's like, I make this complaint all the time. Like Star Wars nowadays, it's only like you're gonna get a show. It's just Star Wars is all origin stories for things, you know. Like, look at Solo. Solo is the worst example of this. And again, I actually kind of like, no offense to the actor, I actually kind of like him. No offense to yeah, anybody but the writers. But like, oh, how did Han get his name? How did Han get his vest? How did Han get his gun? How did Han get his reputation? How did Han get his ship? How did Han get Chewbacca? How did Han yada 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 yada? And it's like, we don't, there's no benefit to this except for like filling out wikis. You know what I mean? And that's not you shouldn't be filling out a wiki in your show. That should be what fans do afterwards, that you do in handbooks or whatever. It's extra information that sort of just bogs everything down, right? Like if we were to go, if I was like, oh hey, Zero, I have, now I gotta be careful here because I gotta think, because like I know you hate a lot of games for good reason, for good measure. If I went, hey Zero, here's Sea of Stars, it's a really cool RPG game, right? And you went, oh, tell me about it. And I went, well, the combat's like this, it's got this story, and it looks like this. You'd probably be like, oh, okay, I might check it out. I'm seeing what I'm seeing. I like that, yada yada. But if I started going like, it's got good graphics, gameplay, story. Also, did you know that one of the developers is a big fan of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games? Because like 20 years ago, they made a tweet or a Tumblr post just about how much they loved it, and you can clearly see its influence nowadays. And did you know that the studio behind it was also the studio that developed yada blah 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 blah, right? All that stuff, you're gonna start tuning out. You're gonna go, okay, what's the point? Why are we here? I don't know. I don't need to know any of this. What I need to know is what is going on here. After you experience the game, after you play, you might be like, oh, I want to get more information. I want to answer these questions. But you shouldn't stop every 2 seconds in your movie or narrative production to like stop, look at the camera, and tell everybody everything about everything that's going on. I always like to reference this Grant Morrison quote where he complains about like, you know, why do I'm gonna look it up right now because it's super easy. I can find this one. I swear. Okay, here's the quote. Quote: kids understand that real crabs don't sing like the ones in The Little Mermaid. But you give an adult fiction, and the adult starts asking really fucking dumb questions, like how does Superman fly? How do those I-beams work? Who pumps the Batmobile's tires? It's a fucking made-up story, you idiot. Nobody pumps the tires, right? Like that's, I get it. Like I don't wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment because I think there are some things that do need to be explained to keep readers immersed, and you can't just hand wave everything because sometimes you got to address things. But I think once you start getting nitpicky and you go like, oh, who put the bolts, what was the name of the pilot who put the bolts on the first Batmobile incarnation, right? Like that's stuff that is ancillary, which is cool trivia. Like it's good trivia, but it doesn't really add anything to the product itself, right? I hesitate to even call it a bell and whistle because bells and whistles at least physically add something. You can do something. The trivia is just a sort of point to go, if I'm a hardcore fan, I can sort of connect everything better. But then you start losing everything. I don't know. It's all complicated. It's all case by case basis, obviously. But I do think we need to back away from sort of explaining everything. And again, we got onto this conversation because of the stupid frequency thing that's used to kick this entire plot line off, right? Like I kind of liked in Avatar, at least the first one. I haven't seen Way of Water or whatever it's called, but unobtainium, right? The name is stupid enough. I freaking love that name, but it's a magic metal. It's worth a lot, and we can use it in things. They don't sit there and they don't, Avatar doesn't spend 40 minutes going through the history of the people who developed how to use unobtainium and what it's being used for back in Earth and what specific makeup of our guns here are made up of unobtainium, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't do that. The movie just goes, this is unobtainium. It's very, very valuable. Everybody wants it. Let's go. And you kind of don't have to sit there for anything else. Your mind, a lot of writers forget that humans are creative. We have minds, we have imaginations. We can make a lot of connections and fill in the blanks ourselves. And I think, for example, when you're reading comic books, each image is not it's not 100%. What's the word here? Like, it's not an animation. There's not every frame of every movement happening to tell you what's going on. You know, panel 1, Spider-Man punches. Panel 2, maybe he's jumping up on a light pole. But the human mind, once you present them with sort of the rules of your world, the context of what you're doing, they can fill it in and go, in my mind, I accept Spider-Man moved from here to here. But then the second you start going, well, this is how Spider-Man did it. He jumped specifically in an 8-degree angle and then bounced off of this. And then that's when your brain starts solidifying facts and going, okay, now that doesn't make sense because there's too much that clashes with what I know. But when it's sort of vague, your brain can do what it does, and there's no specific way. Like, it's just, like I said, it's your brain working with itself to make everything line up and click and connect. And that's what a lot of people in modern storytelling forget, is that a lot of character understanding and all that stuff comes from the moments that the readers are allowed to, fill in themselves with some guardrails in the rules of the world. The more you put something definitive out there, the more you open it up to scrutiny. I don't know. Now I'm losing my points. Not my train of thought. I'm just losing the strength of my argument. But that's kind of what I feel there. So getting back to you guys, Ravul says, I still want a sequel to Shin Godzilla. So I'm torn, because to me, like, the Shin trilogy, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Godzilla by Hideaki Anno, Evangelion creator. When that series was announced, I was like, this is exactly just for, like, it's like the hole in Amigra Fall. I was like, this project is for me. It's Toku on the big screen, directed by Hideaki Anno, with like no oversight from anybody, and he's going back to basics. Let me in. Like, I was completely stoked, and those movies all rule. Like, I love them. Honestly, my ranking goes Godzilla, it's like Shin Godzilla, Kamen Rider, Ultraman. But I fear that a sequel to Shin Godzilla and possibly Shin Ultraman, but Godzilla more, would undercut the specialness, the hype of that first movie. So I would like to see that Godzilla back again. Maybe Toho does another Godzilla Wars 2000 and he makes a cameo and he just messes things up. But I think the story of that Godzilla, at least right now, I think it should be wrapped and done. But if you can, again, as with anything in life, if you can present me with a good solid take, a good reason to bring it back, or to revisit it, I'm there. Like, it's not going to take that much convincing, right? Timon says -1 only next week in Brazil. See, that's sort of like, it's going to be up to your theaters down there, Timon, because that's exactly what it was here. It was 1 week, like, insane. You don't, like, a Thursday to Thursday schedule. That's not enough time for people to get to know your movie or to, like, get word of mouth or whatever. Like, it, admittedly, God's, like, -1 already made back its budget before it aired outside of Japan. Like, it blew the box office away in Japan, and now, all the stuff it's making internationally, particularly in the US with its $1 million box offices, that's icing on the cake. That's all just take for them. So I can kind of understand why they didn't really put a lot of effort into that. But at the same time, the times are changing. I think you at least give something like that a 2-week run. Very, very least, right? And they don't advertise it like these kind of releases very well. So I think Japan needs to sort of up its advertising game a little more. I remember being very, very impressed when Broly came out, Dragon Ball Super Broly. Like, I saw that in theaters, but prior to the movie releasing for its like 1 week, two-day run or whatever the hell it was, I saw banners, I saw leaflets out places, like I saw posters being hung up in the theaters, in malls. They actually tried to market it, and it worked. I'm pretty sure Broly held like some sort of Japanese foreign film record or anime film record for a couple years at some point. But yeah, like, we got to start advertising these more, because I don't think people know they exist, especially in the world of sequel franchise schlock that we live in today. I feel like if I'm a casual moviegoer, I would want to see like I don't know if I'm a casual moviegoer and you go what's in the theaters this week and I go the Marvels, the Hunger Games, Godzilla minus one. If I'm casual, I just go oh great franchise crap. That's all franchise crap. But if I was watching trailers and I saw this really emotional like deep take on Godzilla, if I don't like the MonsterVerse, quote unquote, maybe that's something that interests me. But because Toho doesn't do that, we don't get that chance. You know what I mean? Zero Dozer says piloting Mecha Godzilla feels like Pacific Rim shit. I'm not against that. I get it's not in the spirit of the original Mecha Godzilla. I do prefer the like pilot chambers, but I'm not against this style of mecha piloting. I actually like it a lot because I've liked the sort of full body response system ever since the G Gundam, right? Where they suit up in their Gundams with that like latex suit and everything they do is what the Gundam does. I always liked that method of piloting more than like cockpit because cockpit it's hard for my brain to be like, okay, how are you going to do like a complicated like gun twirl and make your Gundam like grip like this with just paddles and switches, right? And that's more of a problem with like later Gundam, like RX-78 back in the old school days. That thing operates like a tank, so the pilot like cockpits make sense and they feel better. But once you start getting into things like Unicorn or even Seed, and you start getting all the crazy twirls, or even Witch from Mercury, that's when I'm like, okay, just give them the full body resonance suits. Give them the Ready Player One suits, right? Let's see. Gotta leave some mystery in a monster movie. Of course, always gotta leave some mystery. Ravul says Lando was complete heresy. So I like, oh gosh, Star Wars. Everything about that movie is pretty bad. And we've all gone over it a million times. But I will say what really hurt me the most was the Lando stuff. Because I wasn't a particular Lando fan. Like I liked him, he's cool. But I love Donald Glover. Like he's one of my favorite creatives ever since like he was on SNL and 30 Rock and stuff. Like I love his music, I love his writing, I love everything. So when they put him in the role of Lando, I was like, ooh, nice. Like let's get this franchise some style. Like let's do it. But then the character is not Lando. It's just weird. I don't know. And then of course Phoebe Waller-Bridge is there, and can she go away? I don't understand what she's doing over in this neck of the woods. Like I know Fleabag was apparently really good for what it was, so why don't you stay in like you obviously like writing sort of the social commentary not subversive, but like social commentary meta sitcoms. Why are you trying to come over here to Tomb Raider and Star Wars and Indiana Jones? And it's not like she's coming over here to be like, ooh, I like this, I want to be in it, put me in it. It's like, I want to be in it, we're going to make it my way. You know what I mean? It's, imagine if, like we know in Force Awakens, there were a billion cameos from people, right? Like Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper, and Simon Pegg, he was the junk dealer that works with Rey at the beginning, right? Imagine if they came in and they were like, oh, I love like, yeah, I'll be a stormtrooper. But can you write it like this? Like, it has to be like this. There has to be a scene where blah, 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 blah. Like, that's annoying. That's not, like, wanting to be here for the work. That's wanting to use it as an opportunity to further to further your agenda, whatever it may be. Whether it's social change, your own career, changing the media landscape, whatever the hell it is. It's all just stepping stones. Zero says, fun thing is, Sea of Stars explains several things regarding the Messenger's lore. But see, that's like, I love stuff like that, Zero. I'm totally there with you. But imagine if they took all that stuff and, if somebody was like, here's Sea of Stars. Oh, now let me tell you all the stuff about the Messenger and let me like recap everything about the Messenger, including gameplay and like packaging details. It's just about, it's a lesson I've learned a lot, as a writer, having been educated as an English major, which again, I'm not saying I'm better than anyone or bragging. I'm just saying that's my background. I know my degree is worthless. I don't even have my degree. Like my physical degree, it's still at my college. Actually, what year is it? It's 2023. They already burned it. So I went to UC Irvine, University of California, Irvine, and what they do is they hold your diplomas, like they print them out on that nice paper for like 10 years, and they print them out on that nice paper when you graduate, and then they put it in like filing, and after you graduate and you do the ceremony, you go get it from the office afterwards. But if you don't pick it up after 10 years for some reason, I think they want to like move away from fraud. If the records are still, if the diploma's still in their office, they'll just burn it. Weird system, but that's what they do. You can request a new one and they'll print it out, no problem, but it takes a little more time. I was like, yeah, I did it. Time to be broke for the rest of my life. Can I just go home and get drunk now? but but more to my point is that you really have to know your audience, and you really have to know how much information to communicate to somebody on a given subject. Keeping yourself focused on what you're trying to say is a skill that a lot of writers, whether they be video game writers, comic writers, journalists, whatever, seem to lack. You know, you don't need to add in again, if I'm, you know, let me tell you about this Goku figure. Let's review this figure. I want to sell you on this figure, Zero, Ravul, and I start going, you know, look at how his knee bends. Now, did you know that the first action figure that ever had its knee bend was a Kenner Stormtrooper doll, and it actually started bending because, and I go on a 20-minute rant about knee joints. And then I come back to the toy and I go, oh yeah, you see its tail? Well, funny thing about this tail part in the manga, and I go through the entire history of Goku's tail, right? It is relevant, but it's not helpful. It doesn't communicate anything. It's just trivia. Sort of like, to bring it into sort of a discourse model, it's sort of like when somebody goes, oh, I'm mad at you, Zero. You insulted, Miles Morales. And then instead of just focusing on your argument about Miles Morales, they start whipping out and start, lashing out in different directions and going down all these, like, discussion paths that you didn't even raise. It's just, that when that happens, even if they had a good point, they're going to lose their, the point they're making. Or let's put it, more in our sphere. If somebody sees something is woke, or let me restart. If somebody has a very specific issue with something, like let's say, I don't like how they are race swapping Snow White, right? Like a very specific issue. And your complaint is, I don't like race swapping, and you can articulate, it erases the original vision. It's obviously promoting, agendas and all that stuff. And you can get your point across very well where people will listen to you. But if you start going into, this movie is woke. Oh my God. Like, do you remember what they did with Little Mermaid, and they did this? And now let's talk about Black Rock because this is what's going. You're just going to sound unhinged, and people are going to go, he doesn't know what he's talking about. She doesn't know what she's talking about. They're flailing. And so it like, even in this sphere, it's all about making sure you're telling what's necessary and helpful and not overwhelming somebody with extra information. Like, this is just another example because I've been guilty of doing this before, like back in my way early days. But if Marvel announces a new Iron Man event, in their comics, you don't need to go in and recap the entire history of Iron Man as to how he got right here, right? It's relevant, but it's going to bore people. It's going to make people tune out. Nobody's going to remember by the time I get to it what the subject even is. So that's sort of where I am with the whole spell everything out, origin story for everything. And there's some free writing advice for all of you. Get out there and start your own blogs now. Flex says, in my experience, the best Mortal MK movies are cutscenes from the game. Are you talking about Mortal Kombat? Is that what you're talking about, Flex? Because dude, I am a known disliker of that new movie of the 2021. It is my in those earlier days of Bounding, while we were trying to get everything, while John and I were trying to get flows and sort of set up the site and just get it going, I for a period I was doing reviews of some stuff, which I don't I like reviewing things because I like engaging in dialogue like this, like with people and talking about certain points. But I'm really bad about written reviews because I feel like I just I'm one of those people who is too ready to be like, well, don't forget this. Like this is something you need to consider when da 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 da. And to my last point, my reviews end up getting a little unwieldy because I'm talking about way too much stuff that I feel the need to ding, but other people might not give a shit about. And Mortal Kombat is one of 2 video reviews I actually did for Bounding, and man, I dislike that movie. I spent so much time with that movie. I don't and like Mortal Kombat is not in a good state. I don't really want to like talk about it because I kind of hate it right now. But like the Mortal Kombat 1, it again, censorship aside and all that bullshit, it the writing just sucks. It Ed Boon is doing the multiverse alternate timeline Marvel Cinematic Universe shit, and it sucks. And every game reboots the timeline for no reason, and it's just tired. It's boring. Fighting games aren't those that don't really need deep stories. They can be stories that are told either in brief little exchanges before the match or in strategy guides, booklets, and yeah, it's just Mortal Kombat 1 is just a disaster of media, and it just Mortal Kombat's not in a good spot. I feel like it doesn't have any charm. It feels very generic, honest to God. Like its graphics, its presentation, its style, it just feels like, oh, we have fighting game at home. Fighting game at home is Mortal Kombat. But to your other point, yes, if you want Mortal Kombat, like if you want to see them in action, definitely watch like cutscenes from old games and the what did Flex say? The Legend animated films, the ones that are coming out from Warner Brothers, they're pretty good. They're not going to blow you away, but they're fun rides and they're very decent. Like they're decently animated. So if you are a fan of Mortal Kombat, check those out definitely. Let's see, what do we also got here? Shinkai's here. Hey Shinkai, I didn't realize you showed up. What's going on, my guy? Timon says unobtainium appeared first in the core. It transforms pressure and heat into energy. That was enough techno babble. I love this stupid movie. So much fun. So yeah, exactly. See, Timon, that's all they had to do. It transforms pressure and heat into energy. Did they have to go into, and by going into this core stasis, it can interact with this? No, it just said it makes energy. And boom, awesome. We're off to the races. Let's freaking go. And I think they even did that with the second movie where it's like, this resource it prevents you from aging. And that was it. They were just like, all right, cool. Move the hell on. Zero says, Hideaki Anno has some bad habits. What about the ending scene from Shin Godzilla? The creature spawning out of Godzilla's tail. Oh, okay, hold on. Now I mixed up 2 people because of the colors again. But Zero says, Anno has some bad habits. He does. But that's also sort of no creator is perfect. Everybody has their flaws. But for the most part, Anno knows storytelling very well, especially deep, thematic, emotional storytelling. But what really gets to me at the heart of all of Anno's productions, and this is what I get from the Shin series, and it came across the second he was like, I volunteered for this. I wanted to do this. I need to do this. Like, Anno cares about the properties he's working on. Right? Shin Godzilla, Ultraman, and Kamen Rider were not just opportunities to merchandise a new figure. Anno put like thought into what that series was, what it meant to him, what it meant to the culture, or those series is, all of them, and that came through in the work. So that sincerity alone is enough for me to sort of put, or like to forgive Anno's bad habits, right? And so yeah, like he gets it. He's very sincere, and to me, in this day and age, even if your project or your aim, whatever, is a miss and nobody likes it, as long as you were sincere, even if you were sincere from like a political standpoint, I don't agree with, I can at least respect that rather than just taking up a position because current thing. Put that chip in. And then, yeah, Ravul says, what about the ending scene from Shin Godzilla, the creature spewing out of Godzilla's tail? Damn, totally forgot that. Okay, I think that can work. I think my main you telling me that, Revul, what it sparked is, I think my main complaint is, don't bring back Godzilla. Like, don't bring back, or at least that incarnation of it. Like, I don't want to see it being merchandised essentially in the movie. I would, if you want to do something with the little guys and they became like a different monster, maybe. I have no idea. I don't know off the top of my head. I cannot remember any sort of like leech maggot bug kaiju. I'm sure one exists and I'm just not thinking of it, but something else that's not the G we saw, I would be in for it, right? You got me, Revul. You got me. Revul says Demon Slayer Mugen Train outperformed Godzilla -1 in its opening weekend. Yes. Mugen Train is also one of those ones that just destroyed box office records, right? Especially that thing did well during COVID, which is insane. Like, everybody said, regardless of what you believed at the time, everybody said, I'm gonna go see Demon Slayer because it's worth the social stigma. It's worth possibly getting sick. It's worth getting yelled at by idiots who tell me to mask up when I'm in my car. Like, it did really well. Revul, you might know off the top of your head, or because you have the ability to look right now since you're not on a stream, but is that still a record holder in Japan? I don't know what the current state of movie records are over there. I believe Demon Slayer's got to be up there because it blew everything away. Yeah, so I'm curious to know that, but that's just an aside. Josh is here saying Super Saiyan 4, no thanks. Get wrecked. This is an objectively cool form, right? This is objectively cool. It's so objectively cool that I bought 2 of these Gokus just in case one breaks. I never do that because I'm not that weird anymore. I used to do that a lot when I was a kid, when I had disposable income. But this design rules. Get out of here. Vegeta's not so much. I have him too. He's somewhere, but shut up, Josh. Zero says it's complicated. On one side, normies have no idea what's really happening with culture and often come off as not wanting to know what's happening. On the other, it's like Vera Dark said. The people saying you're overreacting and think they're taking over everything actually wish to take over everything. Yeah, like, that is the real problem, is how do I... And I think that does get to the core of what I was saying, Zero, which is like, how do I communicate these messages to people outside of my audience? I think that's the key phrase here, is outside of your audience. Among us, we could all talk here. You know, I could make a bunch of simple references to people, to events, yada yada, and you'd all sort of be able to know and follow or whatever. Like, this lady is totally an Amber Heard. I guess she's probably going to end up like, okay, she's acting like an Amber Heard. Well, I guess her career is going to end up like a Shazam Fury of the Gods. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I could be like, Rachel Zegler is just the worst. She's just, nobody wants to hear from her. She's so awful. But outside of our circles, that all is going to come across differently because they lack that context. So it's about finding a way to provide enough context that they understand things, but not so much context that you're overwhelming them, right? Because again, we're just talking about that initial connection, that initial talking to somebody. You know, bring them in, but you don't want to scare them away. Nobody's going to listen to you if you do sound like a ranting madman. It's just, no matter how good your message is, I feel like that's what a lot of people, particularly, not just, actually, no, that's what a lot of people in all spheres, whether it's our sphere over here around bounding or in like the reset era sphere, nobody, what's the right term? Damn, I lost my train of thought. You guys did it. And you want to know why I lost my train of thought? Because I saw my girl Cassie is here. Thank you. First of all, she makes me glow every time she shows up. Love this lady. And also, she's backing me up. Hell yeah. Shut up, Josh. Super Saiyan 4 rules. And I know this, I can take that, like, that means something coming from Cassie, because she's also, like me, Trunks is her main boy. So I know she has the right Dragon Ball opinions. We're good. Let's see. Flex says, yeah, 2021 was a weak reboot. Also, I will only spell combat with a K. Autocorrect be damn. On one of my old phones, it's not on this current one, but iPhones have the ability to like learn your texting, right? So instead of, after a while, it will learn that you're not trying to say duck, you're trying to say fuck. But I had mine like during the MK9 era, my phone did learn to do combat like KOMBAT every single time. And yeah, it was pretty funny. By the way, Mortal Kombat 9, best one. All of all the revival series, that one is very very good, and I wish people still played it. I was obsessed with that game. Like I mentioned before, I've mentioned before here how I, especially in my youth, I was a big like fighting game scene competitor. That goddamn game, I was like labbing. I don't think I put in that much effort into a game since Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And I don't know what it was. It just something about 9 hit. It was really good. It felt good to play. I think it was a little different because we hadn't seen sort of like a Western style fighter in a long time. I can still muscle memory the moveset for Smoke on how to do his most basic combos. Yeah, exactly, Zero. Zero says, I get shat on and called a negative creep for the takes I have on things, but I wouldn't be myself if I don't talk about what bothers me. Exactly. And that's why, like, and then he says, these people don't know what it is to be treated like an animal over their own personal politics and then get baffled when you return the aggression back. Exactly. That's the thing, is that it's very easy, and that's what a lot of the corporations have done, right? It's very easy to use the right language that couches your bullshit in things that sound like they're good to, you know, normies. Oh God, my dog's howling. Let's hope that doesn't start. Hold on. Well, at least it's just him. It's isolated. He's not getting the rest of the dogs going, which is good. Oh, I think I spoke too soon. If that comes across too much, let me know, guys, because I can mute and I can go actually take care of it. Well, when that happens. Halo! Good Lord. Guys, no! No! Bastards. Bastard dogs! Okay, but you can't come back in. Remy! Guys! Shut up! I'm leaving Remy out here for a little bit. I need like that. I need a graphic of the technical difficulties from The Simpsons with like the drunk guy drinking. I definitely need that. Yeah, see, Cassie heard it. But yeah, so the corporation, like, they all do that. You know, we're here to, you know, we made a black Ariel because we want more black people to feel included. We want everybody to see themselves. On paper, right? Devoid of context, that's a really hard statement to argue against. Because sure, why not give, you know, black people more opportunities, yada yada. But once you get into it, once you finally get in the weeds, you realize, oh, they're not doing this out of a genuine sort of social care. It's all social engineering and manufacturing and very, very like dishonest to the art. And that's the unfortunate problem, is that you need that context for a lot of our complaints to make sense. And unfortunately, that takes a little bit of talking. You can't just communicate it. So that's what I mean. Like, one of my goals, at least, like personally, I try to take that into everything I do, whether it's appearances on Pro Show or writing and bounding into comics. I want to make sure that I can provide enough details and context to give anybody who is sort of just gleaming a story, who's just coming across it, enough information to get what I'm saying, get where we're coming from, and then make up their own mind about it, right? I think that's what a lot of people should aim to do, but it takes some effort and practice to be able to carve or to like smelt your sword exactly right so that there's not a bunch of extra stuff hanging off of it. So yeah, so but to that end, Zero, like, I also don't think that, because I've had this talk with you specifically, Zero, so I'm going to sort of like I'm going to open it up a little to everybody. But like, you and I have talked about how we approach sort of discourse, right? I've told you I approach it that way. You've admitted, like, yeah, I wish I could approach it like that, but I know my anger, I know my temper, I know how I get. The thing with like the thing that I sort of want to highlight in the way you think, Zero, is like that's not bad, especially when you're like, yes, like you are self-aware of it. Like you've told me before, yeah, I know that my combativeness doesn't really help, but it's sort of how I want to express myself. And in that sort of mentality, I have no complaints. Like you're sort of not helping, but you're also being true to yourself. You're getting it out there. So if you were to be like, screw you, Spencer, the only way to get through to these people is to, berate them and yell at them every single time and just insult them, and I am doing the right thing, then I would go, Zero, I think you've lost the plot, man. But you are self-aware, you know what you're doing. And I've also seen you are capable of like, and this is why I think I take less offense to at least you saying this, Zero, or anybody who says it in this, who's like you, is I've seen you are capable of being articulate when the time comes. I've seen you engage in arguments where you, Zero, like, or other, like anger posters, like they are capable of explaining why they don't like something without just devolving. But and since I know you're capable of that, and you're admitting like I just that's not what I want to do, and I'm aware it's not like it's helpful, that there's a like there's a modicum of respect I can give to you and to that opinion, and be like, then go for it, because you're not up your own ass, right? You are very self-aware. And if you are like to blow that out, if you're self-aware in this, if you're somebody like Zero who's at least self-aware, going, I'm just expressing myself, I'm not really here like, I know this isn't the best technique to do so, cool, go for it. But if you think yelling and just insulting and just going all over the place like Alex Jones is a good strategy to get people to listen to your message, let's step back for a second. You go Alex Jones when they already know your message, you know what I mean? Because then you can just rattle off references. Timon's laptop was glitching. He said he will be right back. We'll see you soon. Shinkai is also a fan of Super Saiyan 4. That's what I'm talking about. The people have spoken. And Zero says there's also the preaching to the choir problem. What good is it to communicate when the only people you communicate are the people that already agree with you? Exactly. I think there is and that's sort of what I was just getting at. You sort of have to be able to have two modes, which is, or it's knowing your audience. Sometimes, you're speaking to people who already know everything you're talking about. Sometimes you're talking to people who don't know anything. Like, for example, when I go on the Dix division, whether it's Tuesday Night Throwdown, Thursday Night, whatever their shows are nowadays, they change the names all the time. I can't follow, but I watch because I'm subscribed. But like when I go on that show, I know I don't have to be so choice with my words. Like I can be a little more casual and not have to explain everything in detail, because people there are going to know what I'm talking about. But when I go on the WDW Pro show, that's a moment where I have to go, okay, this is a wider audience. Let's give them some context that informs all this, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, it's complicated, and it really is to me, it's a debate of, can you sleep at night in the way you conduct yourself? If you can, you're good. Like that's on you in whatever, right? I think I lost the plot a little there at the end of that sentiment, but I think you guys know what I mean. Zero says he misses his dog. Dude, I can't. I love my dog so much. I love dogs in general. I love animals in general so much. Like I'm a big sissy when it comes to animals, like when I was younger, for a brief period in high school, I wanted to be a surgeon, an internal medicine doctor and a surgeon, before I didn't get into any of the colleges I wanted, but that's an aside. Because I was totally fine with like human blood and all that stuff, but when it comes to like a dog, I just can't do it. I think it's because like humans can communicate and talk to you, whereas with animals, they're just like, help me, I don't know. I don't know. It's sad. I can't do it. And yeah, like if we're talking lost dogs, like they passed away. I lost a dog last year. He was a family dog. He'd been there since I was in high school. It happens. It sucks. I think about my own dog's mortality all the time, and it makes me depressed. But that's why, we're here now. We enjoy the time with our dogs, and we enjoy our time with our friends. Yes, Josh, that is the way we should Josh is letting you guys know how we actually do things over at Bounding. It is we write our articles and cite absolutely no one. Mediocre articles is what's in high demand. You know what? I think CBR. We're entering a partnership with CBR where we're just going to put out super low quality stuff all the time and just rage bait and engage bait. Let's see. Zero says, yeah, I can say I'm an aggressive fella. I know I'm not a very positive guy, and above all else, I'm often willing to buy a fight. But if I did too different, I wouldn't be myself, or it wouldn't feel like myself. Yeah, let's be honest. There's a reason I used to hate Alex Jones. Nowadays, I like him. But yeah, ranting, screaming, or being the screaming autist in the room does not help. Yeah, exactly. And what was the thing? Just a quick point, because like I want to note it. You say you're not a positive guy, but I don't think you're not necessarily a negative. Like, there's negative Nancy's who are like, oh, this all sex all the time, blah blah blah. But again, you're self-aware and you are able to acknowledge things that are good, right? Zero, like the whole Sea of Stars thing. When that game caught your attention, you were in Cassie's Discord server asking everybody like, hey, tell me about the game. What's it like? Da 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 da. And then when you finally played it, once you found that it lined up with whatever you wanted to see and you played it, you were like, this is a good game. You didn't put on any airs. You didn't try to pretend like you hated it just because it was popular. You were like, this is good. Somebody who can't do that is Josh. I don't even know if he's in the chat anymore, but I make this joke a lot with Josh because whenever we talk, we'll be talking about movies or video games or whatever, and Josh will be like, oh, I hate this one. I hated this sequel. I hated this entry. Oh, I didn't like that movie. I didn't like that. And it's like, I've come to learn that over the last like couple months, I'm like, have you ever watched anything or played anything past like 2009? And it's become like an inside joke between us where it's like, he doesn't. He like stopped a lot for some reason. There's like this unofficial cutoff point in his brain where he stopped like engaging with new media, and I just remember making fun of him for that. Yes, you do, Josh, because you know this person, because we're a happy family over at Bounding. Damn it, you be happy. That's right. It's 2010. Yeah, and he doesn't play anything past like 2011 when Mega Man 11 came out or whenever that was. And yeah, Zero, like I know that game made you happy. I was happy for you that you were enjoying it, right? Like I knew I didn't have time to play it myself, but I was like, whenever I see somebody genuinely happy to be engaging with a piece of entertainment or a piece of media that is just good, that just strikes, that doesn't really have any of that culture war nonsense attached to it, it's a joy moment, right? Like that's what we're in this game for. And speaking of games, we've been on, I think this is a good time to finally get back to what we were talking about, because we were not, when we got here, we were not talking about Godzilla. We were not talking about bad set designs, but we were talking about the Game Awards. Let's see. Zero says there's a few modern things I want to watch, but they're few. I've yet to watch Cuphead and the One Piece live action. I didn't watch Cuphead. I kind of forgot that even came out. It flew under the radar. I've heard nothing about it. Was it good? Genuinely, I am in the dark about that show. But One Piece live action, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. It's not perfect. You guys can, the first episode of the show was a review of One Piece. So if you want a deeper dive, you can go check that. But in terms of like social politics and stuff, it doesn't really have that. There's one giant race swap, which is, or maybe not giant, but one clear race swap, which is Nami's sister is now like pure, like Nojiko is like black instead of just like vaguely tan, vaguely dark, whatever. But yeah, aside from that, I think it's a really good show. I had fun with it. I don't think it's better than, the manga or the anime or any of that. I think it's just a different way you can engage with it. And that's cool with me. Yeah, this stream really went just way out of left field here. We totally, wow. So let's start with the Game Awards. As maybe some of you know, all of you know, most of you know, last night was the annual entry into Geoff Keighley's The Game Awards show, which, it is what it is. It's the annual award ceremony, like public award ceremony for the industry. It is sort of, it's the pop award, if you will. It's more like an MTV movie award or like that sort of prestige rather than an Oscar or anything else. But that's so. I don't know why I bring that up. I just did. It is separate. There is a separate event that a lot of people have been talking about. I know Zero talked about it, and I had to correct him. But there is a separate event called the Game Awards, like the New York Game Awards, and that is a separate thing that specifically is like the hoity-toity like upper crust like awards. That's the award ceremony for the fart sniffers who think video games have to be art, otherwise I can't engage with them. I can't have my silly toys. And I mean, like that's what the Game Awards is too. You know, like it's so sad what the Game Awards has become, because when this thing first started out, we all sort of recognized when it first started out, it felt like it was one of those genuine endeavors out of Keighley, right? Like he wants to, award games, he wants to recognize games, and then we get a bunch of cool new releases and announcements. Awesome. Like I'm so here for it. As we've gone on with as we've seen with too many other ventures in life, the money seeped in, the corporatism seeped in. This year there was a title called Dave the Diver that was nominated for an indie title, like best indie title, but it was developed by fucking Nexon, the guys who like the giant Korean MMO guys. Like it's all over the place. It's kind of dead now. And where once this was sort of like the fan award show where we all had fun and everybody sort of laughed at the goofiness and recognized that it's sort of a silly little event, but we were all excited because there's trailers and Geoff is at least having a good time, and at least somebody is giving respect to this. Now it's this, like, it still feels like an effort for them to make video games into like high art because they're embarrassed to be playing with toys. I know we talk a lot about sort of the gender politics and the social politics getting in there into like our games nowadays, but there's a really massive like cavalcade in media and entertainment that says your art has to be like, I can't enjoy something unless it's considered like high art. We've gotten that discourse in recent years about elevated horror, which is like, it's people saying things like Hereditary it's not your typical horror because it's not slasher, it's deep, it's emotional. And I'm like, horror is horror. Why do you have to make such a stupid ass distinction about it? It's because you're embarrassed to be engaging with something earnestly. And I don't know, like this entire farce last night just felt really, really scummy. It felt really bad, especially because they were like, oh, here's your award, 30 seconds for your award. Now get the hell off our stage. We have to show off another game. We have an ad we want to run. It just felt really gross. It didn't feel like a Game Awards. It felt like an ad break. It felt like an ad break, like a Twitch ad break that has like 17 ads in them. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was watching a Twitch stream and it hit the ad break for like 3 hours. Yeah, Josh, Game Awards happened last night. I thought you knew that. Somebody didn't read the site this morning because the last article I wrote before I went to bed last night was about the Blade game that was announced. It happened and it was a circus. Yeah, and Josh says, to be fair, it always is. Yes, see, like, Zero brings this up. Aoji Onoma, the like series director of Legend of Zelda, there is a lot. It's not just him. Like there was also Sam Lake from Alan Wake and Max Payne and that stuff. There were teleprompters up, or what do you call them? Teleprompters up above the crowd for everybody to read. And there are shots you can see from the show where like these icons in gaming who were supposed to technically be recognizing get like 30 seconds to talk, and then giant white letters like wrap it up, like please wrap up. And it's like, why do you want to like that's where it moves away from being genuine and feeling like we actually care about video games as for what they are, and it just feels like corporatism. It just feels like you're trying to sell it. Like, yes, you are trying to sell us things, but this just feels like you're trying to sell us things. It's the difference between somebody going like, hey, I made these pants, they're pretty cool, you want to come like wear them, try them out, they're at my store if you want to, here's some details. And the pushy like sales rep on the floor going, oh my gosh, you got to come over here and check these jeans. They're 40% off today. We're having 2-for-1 sale. You know what? If you want to buy these today, we can sign you up for a credit card as well, like our Abercrombie credit card. That's what it feels like now. Just overwhelming, corporate, dishonest, weird. Very weird. Very fake. Timon says the Game Awards are like the Oscars. I don't care about it because the game movies I like never win. Like, here's the thing. Here's my thing with the Game Awards. I don't actually feel like any of this fucking matters. And yeah, like, I'm right there with you, Timon. I also don't feel like the Oscars really matter. It's it doesn't feel like it's like, I learned this earlier this year that the fan award, the voting pool for that, or the voting, whatever you measure the amount of votes that come in, it's like 20%, or like the score consideration is 20% consideration is all that's given to the actual fan votes. The other 80% are their panel of judges, right? And so, like, that's the kind of stuff that makes me go, these awards don't mean anything unless you just pay for it. And so, like, you know, everybody touts, you know, oh, this one game of the year, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, like, did it though? Like, does it matter? That's your game of the year, I guess, and by some weird formula, it's everybody's game of the year. But I don't know. I've never really been one for awards because I recognize, you know, I have a lot of video games or comic books or manga or anime that I like that critics hated, but there's something about it that gets to me, or audience hated it, and something that got to me. It's sort of the same reason I don't put a lot of stock in, you know, Rotten Tomato scores. I prefer to talk to people one-to-one. If I want to know about a game, I'll go talk to Cassie. I'll say, Cassie, how are you feeling? Zero, what do you think about this game? Josh, have you heard anything about this? Shinkai, what about you? What are you watching lately? Like, I'd rather do that than, you know, give a shit about, oh, how many Game of the Year awards did this win? Again, because also, and I feel like I've mini ranted about this before, and I might not have, but I'm going to do it now. Like, Starfield, for example, right? That fucking game came out, and it was like 10s across the board. This is fantastic. Oh my God. Todd did it again. This is a genre-defining fucking game. And there were, all these reviews were filled with like, okay, but admittedly, the game takes forever to get started. Okay, it's actually really buggy here. It doesn't play that great. The models are sort of, you know, hype goes a long way nowadays in media scores, which is why they want to get their scores out and their reviews really fast. Because if you go look nowadays, now that the dust has settled, Starfield is at like a 68. Like, it's like on OpenCritic. It's not been well received, and that's why I don't put a lot of stock in reviews, because to quote Rick and Morty, you know, I've seen what makes you clap. Your boos mean nothing to me. And yeah, so when it comes to award shows, I kind of don't really care. I kind of care about like consumer awards, you know, things that are like best in class safety, or, you know, highest rated energy, like efficiency, or like, I care about those kind of awards, you know, JD Power and Associates. Maybe not that one. I feel like that one's pretty corporate. I just like the name. But that kind of stuff I'm all for. Oh, and like local awards, you know, if it's like your local town is doing like the best restaurants in our 4 blocks, I'd probably believe those rankings. Although, as soon as I said that, I'm like, there are a lot of like community politics that always are in play in that. Yeah, Cassie, get the fuck off the stage unless you're Hideo Kojima. That's like, we got to talk about that Koji stuff, because obviously here. So, what is it called? Zero? It's like odd or something. Or I don't even think I'm in the right window. There it is. Can I get a trailer? Oh, we're just gonna look at her. No, that was a tease for the end of the show. Oh no. Let's look for odd trailer, and we're just gonna play it in the background. Keep it very, very low. So, all right, Hideo Kojima we all know the man. He is the Metal Gear Solid creator. He's a huge film buff kind of dude. He's a legend in the gaming industry. It's been a running meme, and it's actually a thing, that in recent years, Geoff Keighly has become sort of Kojima's simp. He loves hanging out with him. He loves doing anything he does. They're always together. And a running thing for the Game Awards has been, what's what's Geoff and Kojima gonna do now? Are they gonna bring him out? Are they gonna like what's the next project? And every year without fail, Kojima comes out and either says something about his last game or he teases a new thing. This is his new project, Odd, like OD. It's obviously got a lot of great like he's doing the Death Stranding thing again and getting real life actors. This is Sophia Lillis, who you might recognize from the Dungeons and Dragons, the recent movie, and then It. She was Bev in the remakes of It, the kid. She's been in something else too, something else pretty big. But we know nothing about the game. It's what we saw in this trailer is just typical Hideo Kojima-ness. I'll just go to his logo, whatever. Just lots of weird dialogue that might be metaphorical, might be not, might just be atmospheric, might be songlit, whatever. It's kind of just Kojima in OD. And here's my thing with all of this now. So, for those who don't know, I love Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love every single one of them. I replay them every couple of years. It's one of the rare games I actually do full replays of. Revengeance, I eat it up. I loved Kojima's sort of thinking. I love his outlook on the world. I love the way he writes things. I love the way he, I like seeing his inspirations come from everywhere. I like how he molds them all together. Here's the problem. Death Stranding was fine. It was okay. I liked a lot of the concepts. It was pretty. I liked the world idea. But as a game, it was something. I'm not going to say it was bad because I don't even really know what I want to say about Death Stranding, right? But with like Odd here, it's becoming very clear that Kojima, I feel like the shine is wearing off of Kojima because now he's on his own and he doesn't have anybody sort of reining him in or any editors. So now he's just allowed to dump out everything, and you never go full Kojima, right? Like, and now he's going full Kojima. So, and by that I mean like this is like an experimental game / streaming show that's being made in collaboration with Jordan Peele, and what's going on here, and so like that's one aspect of Kojima being there, is that I feel like, whoa, my light, I need that, otherwise you guys can't see me. What was I saying? That's one aspect. Is Kojima being there just, it's too much him. I think he needs somebody to rein him in. He's kind of gone off the deep end a little bit. But the other end of that is sort of what Cassie's bringing up, which is all these other developers have provided fantastic like games. Like Tears of the Kingdom is amazing. That game literally brought devs to tears with how well it executed it, because they were like, oh crap, now our jobs are going to be harder because this is the new standard. And you give those guys 10-20 seconds to thank giant teams or to talk to their fans, but you give Kojima just this glowing, what is like a 5-minute set to just show off whatever he wants. It's a little weird. It's gone from admiring an auteur which it felt like in the early days, to straight simping. Like to that point, like when if you watched last night when Keighley was introducing Kojima, his voice cracked. He was like, and now Hideo Kojima. Like he was so excited. It's getting weird. It's a little uncomfortable, and I don't know. I just think especially with Kojima going into his weird experimental, not even phase, but like era. I don't know. It didn't. I walked away from that Odd announcement going like, I guess. Like part of me is interested because I like that weird, creepy esotericness I saw in the trailer, and I like Kojima, but I don't need to spend 40 hours navigating with a baby and rocking him to sleep as my like only game interaction. Okay, Zero brings up, did you like it? And that is like one of my favorite things of all time. Where did that even happen? So basically back in like 2009 or something, was that a Game Awards or was that an E3? I think that was just an E3 Zero, but they had like a video segment where like Hideo Kojima showed up and he's like, I'm here to like present like my next take on the like I'm working on the Assassin's Creed franchise. This will be my new game in the franchise. Like, let's do it. Here's an exclusive preview. And it was just a gameplay clip of Solid Snake or Old Snake in Metal Gear Solid 4 wearing an Altair costume. And it plays out like the first level. And then it cuts back to Kojima, and he's in his chair, and he just goes, "Did you like it?" Let me see if I can find that clip, because it's great. It's lived in my head like rent free.
Did you
forever.
like it?
There it is. Ah, Jordan Peele, we're done with you.
Did you like it? Did you like it?
This is repeating.
Did you like it?
And see, like, this creator's gone. This version of Kojima no longer exists, for better or worse. At this point, it really is up in the air whether it'll be worse or better. Death Stranding was sort of like just so in the middle that, and he kind of used up a lot of his like credit with fans on that one. So I don't know. We'll see. Cassie says, I will support Kojima because unlike 98% of the gaming industry, he isn't a trend chaser, but yeah, obsessing over Kojima is too much. Yeah, he's not a trend chaser. Like, I'm right there with you. He's not a trend chaser at all. He does all his own stuff. Like, regardless of how weird and out there I think that he's getting, I cannot fault the man for doing his stuff. Like, he's doing what he wants to do, and it's genuine and it's sincere. It's just that obsession feels really, really weird, especially coupled with the focus given to him and his weird out there maybe project compared to actual video games that we got. Like Zelda, again, Baldur's Gate 3, I didn't play it, but apparently that game is incredible. Even if you don't like its writing and its content, you have to admire its like mechanics, like its core systems and stuff. Like, it's and you don't let those guys talk. You let the guy who's going to, I don't know. I get it, but at this point, I think a lot of the attention we're giving to Kojima is based on his legend rather than what he's giving us. Because again, that's what we just saw. That odd trailer is all we're gonna have for like 5 years, right? So I don't know. I like him. I love Kojima a lot. I will never not like him. But at this point, I kind of want him to prove to me that he still got it. You know what I mean? Instead of me going, yes, I like to look back at the past and remember the good times. But I also do because, let me see if I can find it. I think this is a relevant photograph to pull up. Ooh, where is it? Where? Oh, you suck. Instagram. But, let's see, I'll download it. I'll open it with my browser. And I'll pull its ass over here. Boom! That's right. Ya boy met ya boy Kojima. So this was actually at Comic-Con like 2017, 18. Whenever Death Stranding was about to come out, he was having a panel at Comic-Con, but it was outside of the convention center. It was in like a comedy club in downtown San Diego. And you had to get tickets separate tickets ahead of time to go watch him talk or whatever. So I got some for me, one of my friends at the time, and my girlfriend at the time. And so we went down there a little early. We're walking around downtown San Diego, and I'm like just like staring out, listening to like the noises and people talk, and I'm just like, holy shit, that's Hideo Kojima. And like I ran across the street and I straight up was like, Kojima-san. Like I said that, and I was like, can I get a picture, please? Yada yada yada. And he, took a picture with me. I told him about how much I love Metal Gear and all that. It was really cool. But why I particularly bring up this photo is the person taking the photo is Geoff Keighly. Like I saw, like that's how I confirmed it was Kojima. I looked across the street and I was like, is that Kojima? That's Geoff Keighly walking next to him. Of course that's Kojima. And like so I ran over and I said hello to him. It was awesome. Yeah, Josh, I just noticed that too. That Kojima's doing the hover hand down there. Damn it. here's the thing though. He did like that's like mid touch because he did end up like touching me. But yeah, that is really funny. I just noticed that. And yes, that is a good point, Josh and Timon. Kojima looks tiny, but I'm 6'3", 6'4", somewhere in that range. I'm just a huge human being in general. So when it comes to, especially sitting next to like a full-blooded Asian person, I'm gonna look like the Incredible Hulk. Geoff Keighly be like, "Do you want a picture with me too?" I asked. I was like, "Can I too?" But they were like, "Oh, we have to get going. Like we're busy. Like we're getting into the venue right now or whatever." But yeah, it was just a cool moment. But back to the Game Awards. So aside from all that stupid drama, aside from all of the just uselessness of the event, why are we even here? We did get some video game announcements. Now, the problem is the emphasis there really, I intentionally put it on some because I feel like this year, a lot of the releases weren't, I don't know, they just didn't feel compelling or interesting. They all sort of felt like the same Western small development studio, I don't want to say garbage, but just stuff we've been getting. It didn't like feel that interesting. So what I have here, what I brought up before, is obviously a list by GameSpot of all the announcements. So I figured I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's just go through and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we're getting a remake of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which is cool, I guess. Like nobody really saw it coming, but this also sort of sets the tone for what I'm talking about. This doesn't look bad, but it looks very generic. It looks very much your standard fantasy world. Heck, dude, I'll take Mr. Fantastic stretched out. Hell yeah, I'd much rather prefer that. We got a trailer for this weird Pony Island 2 Panda Circus game. Not entirely sure what it's about. It's one of those indie games that I could have been interested in, except for the fact that front and center in this trailer, which means he's going to have a prominent role in the game, is Pro ZD. And after all of his crap these last couple years, I just cannot stand to see his face on my screen. I want him gone. Or not gone, but like I want nothing to do with him. I just want him gone. I want him gone away from me. Admittedly, it looks like it's intriguing in a WarioWare sort of way, but again, Timon, artsy fartsy, very artsy fartsy. But the Pro ZD thing, it's just, we're out. As soon as that happens, we're out. The Rise of the Golden Idol, it wasn't anything. It was just a game announcement. Like, it was literally just this idol, and they were like, cool. So, what the fuck ever on this? Oh, man. This game. I forgot about this game. So, I gotta pull up the trailer for this disaster. So, if you weren't watching last night, this game is called Usual June. It is the most, like, Tumblr game of all time. And we're going to pull up the trailer here because you guys have got to see just what I'm talking about. Like, it is overwhelming kind of how awful this setup and this premise and stuff looks. So, this comes from, the developer's name, Finji. I'm not necessarily, let's see, what have they done before? They have made, they're the developers of Tunic, the like Fox Zelda-like game. They helped on Night in the Woods. So, Indie Sphere, you've been here, or they've been around, right? Yeah. So, let's take a look at this. Cassie says, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is a really good game, but nobody asked for a remake of it. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying, Cass. Like, it's a good game, but I sort of am left. I don't really have a lot to say for it because why is this happening? Who asked for it? Is this really in demand? It's a good game, but it's not like one of those ones that is constantly in the conversation about mechanics and like progress in the medium. It's just, it was cool, but we've gotten so many better things since then. Like, I would even argue that It Takes Two does that whole co-op concept better than Brother. Obviously, different settings, different stories, all that fun stuff. But if you're looking for that gameplay experience, I would go It Takes Two. But check this out, guys. Like, let's just check this crap out. We don't really need the audio because, or maybe I'll keep a light audio. I'm all worried about copyright strikes, but again, I'm not monetized. I ain't bugging nobody. So, right off the bat, we have just the most generic black female design of all time. Like, it's the same design as the girl from Redfall. It's the same design as Zazie Beetz' Domino in Deadpool 2. Like, I've seen it. I'm tired. And when I see a design like this, I kind of, it's not just the hair. It's the, high school track jacket that obviously harkens like back to them being sort of nostalgic or in some form of Arrested Development. And, the backpack, it just feel, it just, it's so hard for me to articulate, and maybe I'll land on it by next week's show, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. You see this protagonist and you just go, what's coming? It's pronounced faux. Faux is a French word. It's got an X, but you don't even pronounce the X. How'd you like that I didn't say faux. At no time I said fake, right? What did or did I say faux? Faux? I don't know was I talking about Deadpool? What do I know? I don't know. Shut up, Josh. Whatever. See, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's like feminist hair because it doesn't have the shave over here. It's not the lobotomy cut, but it's in that vein. It's sort of like it's sort of like the white dress, blue dress thing, where like if you look at it one way, it's that, and the other, it's that. It's both of them at the same time. You can't quite place your finger on it. That's how I sort of feel when I'm looking at this. They don't look like they are their own unique characters, including appearance. Yes, that's a really good point to Hillam. Nobody here looks unique. Again, it feels like everything we've seen before is sort of all condensed. And that jitteriness, that is part of the game style. It's not my internet. Oh, man, that South Park reference did go over my head, Josh. It really went far over my head. So let's pause right there. I cannot believe. So for those who don't know, we actually talked about this on the show a couple weeks back when the news broke. But Sweet Baby Inc. is one of many companies that exist out there. They're probably one of the more prominent ones, but there are companies out there where if you don't have an internal sort of sensitivity reading department or a DEI department, you can contract them to come in and work on your games. They will help, talk about how to write characters, how to inject messaging, all that, blah, 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 blah. Essentially a consulting group, right? A couple weeks back, we, as a collective on the internet, uncovered the what am I trying to say? The machinations of Sweet Baby Inc. So Sweet Baby Inc. is, they have their hands in a lot of stuff. Most prominently, they had it in Alan Wake 2, in Marvel Spider-Man 2. They're out there. They're trying to get, and if you go and look at their website, all of their messaging is the very corporate, pandering messaging. We want inclusivity. We want diversity. We want yada, 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 yada. That's all there. They are sort of like the textbook villain, for lack of a better term, that we've all been sort of, talking about in the last few years. Now, on my stream, I really emphasized, and I still emphasize that to this day, that though Sweet Baby Inc. is prominent, they are not the only one. A lot of commentators have run with this narrative that Sweet Baby Inc. is this overseeing sort of deity that has hands in every single game that has been published or that features like that kind of messaging. And that's just not true. They are just one of many, but they are very prominent. So that's why you see them. That's why they have a nicer website compared to a lot of their peers. That's sort of that element of this discussion. Yeah, Timon, that's what I call it, the lobotomy cut, because it's always like just one part, not all of your hair, just that one side. Sweet Baby is cancer, 100% agree. To Hillam asks the big question, who pays them? And I mean, isn't that the question at the bottom of all of this, of all of our like entertainment degradation and all that fun stuff? But so what really like took me back here is not only the fact that it kind of confirmed exactly what I was thinking with that character design, like, oh, this is going to be a Sweet Baby game, huh? It's going to be like that. But it's very interesting to me that this particular company got such scrutiny, right? Like, they were a big hot topic for about a week or two back in like October. And prior to that, they really just flew under the radar. They just did their work. They had their website and they were there. Now, after all that, this game, they come out proudly going, this is Sweet Baby's. We worked with Sweet Baby on this, and it doesn't feel like a publicity thing for Sweet Baby, because why wouldn't you have put your credit on Spider-Man, like an actual fucking like blockbuster game, or Alan Wake 2 for that matter, or any of the other titles that if we pulled them up, people would actually recognize. To me, this big blaring declaration from Sweet Baby is almost like it's kind of what I was doing right a second ago. It's them pumping their chest. They're puffing up, going, all right, you guys don't like us? Check this out. We're going to make something you really don't like. Chuds. Like, that's what this feels like to me. Just because of the timing, of the fact that it breaks from their normal operating standards. Yeah, this feels like the equivalent of somebody having a meltdown and doubling down on whatever bad position they have. So that just no going forward that what we're about to look at is a Sweet Baby influence game, and apparently so influenced that they have to highlight it, right? So let's take a look. Aside from the design, like, it's not entirely awful. Like, it's got its charm. It's got a unique art, or not unique art style, but it's got an art style. And now we get here. So I'm a giant fan of third-person action games, like Devil May Cry 3, 5, Kingdom Hearts. If I pulled up my like 20 or like my 5x5 grid of top games of all time, it's got a bunch of them on there. So whenever I see combat like this, I'm instantly intrigued, but I'm also very picky with my third-person action combat, right? Because I've run the gamut of everything that feels fantastic to play, like Devil May Cry 5, to things that feel absolutely awful to play, like the heroes when you get the opportunity to be a hero in the Star Wars Battlefront games. Those are awful. It's not fun. But Devil May Cry, it's fun, it flows, all that stuff. So obviously they're doing third-person combat here. This doesn't look satisfying. It doesn't feel like there's any hit response. It doesn't feel like there's any weight to her attacks. There's no communication from the enemies themselves. It's really weird. Check it out. Obviously, there's more. See, it's got an art style. I'm not going to say it's unique, but it's got one. See, everything there just feels very lifeless, very weighty. Or weightless, sorry. Yes, admittedly, they're very, 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 very brief clips, but still, it's just, like, this one in particular doesn't feel good to me. Even with that big swing, it just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the swing took it out. It feels like it died because it takes 4 hits to die. You know what I mean? Not necessarily because that attack did more damage. Go back to that. I'll admit this thing is weird and it intrigues me because I like gel goo alien monsters like that, but that's not really anything to its credit. Everything in their mom can make a blob monster, right? But yeah, so this is Usual June, and it just the moment that trailer played, I was just like, oh boy, it's going to be one of those kind of games. And we don't know the narrative yet, obviously. It's got to do with a missing kid, but knowing these types of games, knowing Sweet Baby's operation, expect a lot of Gone Home level, read letters about a fourth character who you've never met, lesbian relationship with another character you met for a second in a shop. And then combined with that awkward combat, this feels like it's going to be one. I feel like they're aiming to make this like a big blowaway game, but I feel like this is going to be relegated. Like, this is going to be this faction's version of like Brutal Legend, where it doesn't really work out for them, no matter how much they want to like it and they want to try to have it be something. It's not there. That's kind of what this feels like. Josh says Ultimate Spider-Man looked better in 2005. Oh, dude, that game still rules. I forgot about this, Josh. And I'm just going to complain about it now, because where else am I going to complain about it? That's why I started my own show. Do you remember this? So when that Ultimate Spider-Man game came out in 2005, it was actually supposed to be explicitly canon to Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, you were supposed to be reading Spider-Man, and at the same time, like, you play it specifically takes place within the continuity in the comics. Like, it says in the manual, read here. It says in the comics, read this issue before it's like Ultimate Spider-Man. And then for some reason, because Bendis fucking chickened out, or Marvel chickened out of actually doing a true sort of like multimedia experiment, they later just did that story again in the comics, but they slightly changed it. So they just turned it into like a regular 5-issue arc, which I thought was so stupid, because I was like, you have something kind of unique here. Let's roll with that. Let's do this. And it makes people invested in the game, and just Bendis. Truth says, a boss of a journalist company liking Spider-Man. What is this, the Twilight Zone? Oh, whoa. I love Spider-Man the character. I've said nothing about Marvel Spider-Man the game. Marvel Spider-Man 1, I liked a lot. Marvel Spider-Man 2, I have zero interest in. Like, never have I ever, never have I ever sort of felt my active interest in something dwindle. And you can, and I know Josh can verify this for anybody who doesn't believe me in the chat, but when Spider-Man first came out and we started seeing all the plays and the focus on Miles and, all the writing, blah, 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 Josh and I kept the praise. We were like, this doesn't look great. The web slinging looks bad, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of all our discussions, I would always end with, yeah, but I'm still going to play it. Like, it's Spider-Man. I want to see Venom do his thing. I want to see the symbiote suit. I don't remember the last time I said that. Now, like, our most recent conversation about the game was just, yeah. And I mean, we all know why it's bad, but now I just got reminded of the damn costumes that we reviewed ages ago, and I remembered how much I hate them all, because they can't design crap over there unless you're collaborating with Adidas. Cassie says, Sweet Baby Inc., please keep plastering your name on everything you have a hand in so I know to avoid it. Right? Like, that's... I took that away too, Cassie. I was like, well, at least they told me. At least I don't have to even pretend or even think about having an interest in this, or like whatever, right? It's immediate. The second that came up on screen, like that logo came up on screen after the character reveal, I was just out. Like brain collapsed out. Timon says it looks clunky and also Times New Roman, really lazy. Yeah, right? Like I'm not expecting everybody to do a custom font for all their games, but Times New Roman, an easily identifiable one that's like the default one when you open up a word processor, probably want to angle away from that one. Cassie says, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, greater than Marvel Spider-Man 2. Dude, yeah. That game actually looks really pretty and like plays really well, handles really well. I've heard the story is whatever, but I also know that the Rift, I want them to expand on the Rift thing, because the Rift mechanic felt less like I was actually tearing into different spots in the universe and more just like tearing into that other area that they developed for me to go into. That makes sense, Cass? I think Cass knows what I mean. The gamers in the chat know what I mean. Yeah, bro. But yeah, so that was this game. What the hell is it called? Usual Jane. I just needed to... It blew me away in the wrong way. Like, it caught my attention. Let's get back to it. Then we had Harmonium the Musical, which is... Okay. Let's bring this shit up. Run that back. So, this is... So it's from The Odd Gentleman. It's called Harmonium the Musical, and it really is... like, they even touted this as sort of, more representation and diversity in games. And clearly they're coming at that from the angle of a deaf person. And not necessarily against it, whatever. But what made it weird to me is that it's a musical game for deaf people. Which, like, I'm not necessarily, like, an accessible musical journey, but she can't hear any of it. So... I feel like this is an idea that wasn't fully fleshed out before they started going at it. And I feel like when it finally comes out, they're not going to really make anybody happy. I feel like the woke scolds are going to say that it didn't do enough, and everybody else is going to go, yeah, it didn't do enough, and that made it confusing. Not offensive, just confusing. And Like I feel like the message of like, yeah, let's be deaf. Deaf is great. Deaf is awesome. And then we're doing a musical. I almost feel like it feels insulting. I don't really know how. I don't know any deaf people to really ask their opinion on that. So if anybody out there in the world who happens to watch my stream, I should probably put on subtitles. But if you're deaf, let me know your thoughts. It looks pretty, and the music sounds decent for a musical. Musicals are not easy to make, but I don't know. I'm not against it. It just feels seriously weird. And I just kind of wanted to voice that weird feeling. I'm not against it. I don't think it, like, I don't hate it. I'm not crying at it. It feels very weird. Yeah, Timon. And that's the lower ranked Ratchet and Clank main games. It's like making he's saying this is like making a silent movie for the blind, right? Like it just feels like a disconnect in what you're trying to do. I don't know. We'll have to see how it shakes out. Josh says, I actually want to play Spider-Man 2 for the web swinging. Don't care about the story at all. The web swing? You hate the web swinging. You've spent the last 9 months talking about how much you hate that web swing. What the hell are you talking about? I don't know you anymore. What Josh is actually behind that count or behind that keyboard? Yeah, basically a game with no target audience. Nice. The target audience is like I understand what the target audience is, but it's so niche. I don't like, and that's not a bad thing, but this thing just feels like it's going to be a miss. It just feels like a mix of priorities that don't know what they want to do, and it's just going to be all over the place. Yeah, Tehillim says, thinking that the idea is good, execution is bad. I think I'm right there with you so far. Yeah, and Truth says it's basically that one Spider-Man 2 mission, but the full game. That's actually a really good point. Yeah, if you guys saw that going around, there's that mission where you got to play as Miles Morales' girlfriend in Spider-Man 2 doing like graffiti around the town, and it like mutes the audio. It has like certain deaf mechanic. I don't know. It's fine. It's whatever. I think it's weird to have in a video game. They didn't do a bad job of it. It just feels like you didn't need it. It's like what you were talking about earlier. It's an unnecessary thing that doesn't really add much to the game. And I haven't really heard from anybody saying like, oh, this is the best representation I've ever seen, yada, yada, yada. As just a fully capable a fully capable video game player, I'm a musical guy. This should hit, but it just doesn't. I don't know. It just, I feel like I'm wary about what its intent is, and since I don't know its intent, I'm cautious to approach it and make a decision, if that makes any sense. It could be that its intent is fully just to be sweet and really give deaf kids a video game, as misguided as the execution is. That could be their intent, or their intent could be sweet baby Inc. stuff, right? But we just don't know. So jury's out on this one. And yes, Timon, it is artsy fartsy with the look, with the look I'm inclusive patch. Yes, definitely there. And Tehillim brings up a good point. Which sign language will be available? Australia's sign language differs from the USA, and it differs in other regions of the world too. So I don't know. And that's a little more complex than putting in subtitles, right? Because that means making entire new character animations because, yeah, different signs, different yada, yada, yada. So that's Harmonium. Wait and see, I guess. Not a lot of interest for me there. Clearly, bleh. Windblown. I didn't catch this trailer. I didn't even see this. But if it's from the creators of Dead Cells, it's probably going to be... Oh, the animated teaser trailer did not show any gameplay. Then I don't care. That's why it made no impression on me. Thrasher, a mind-melting... I feel like I missed these. Yeah, I was walking my dog when this came out. Thrasher might be cool. This kind of looks like a Res-type game. More Dave the Diver stuff if you're into that. And the game Dredge. I've never heard of Dredge, but probably Cassie has, I would say. Then we got this. So we got Exodus, which was... Again, like, this is what's pissing me off. I don't really have a lot to say about these games because all I can really say is, like, we got a cinematic. And they're not bad cinematics. Like, they're fine. They're decent. Like, I'm not offended by them. I think they look good, but I don't know what I'm doing in any of these, so I can't really rate it as a game. Like, this trailer looked just like... It was just like Interstellar, that movie. It's got weird space-time shenanigans, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in it, so I can't really... speak to it. What am I supposed to say? Cool spacesuit? What do you want? What do you want? Yes, that quote of the day. Different signs, different yada, yada, yada. Where's the Mega Man X announcement? Josh says, where's the Mega Man X announcement? We got it. It was X Dive, and you haven't played it yet. So you don't get to talk shit. Also, we're never getting another Mega Man game. Except that, like, ACC EPT, that for the rest of our life, we're only going to get, like, pins from Mega Man. That's all. That is our fate as Mega fans. So this is what Tehillim was talking about earlier. God of War Ragnarok is getting DLC. It is free. It is it's a roguelike mode, apparently, where you play Kratos and you kind of beat the hell out of things in randomized order. Again, we sort of touched upon this. Cool if you like it. Not really. I don't really give a shit because I don't really like these God of War games, but I do really admire and, applaud Sony Santa Monica for making this free when they easily and understandably could have charged for this and made ass loads of money. Like, honestly, if they'd have said this is charge DLC, I don't think it really would have made a difference in anybody's opinion, because that's sort of just the norm. But by going free, buddy, you just got a solid win in your camp. You get to weather another storm. Like, that's what I mean. Like, one storm you get to weather, one controversy. This game, Big Walk, it's from the Untitled Goose Game guys. I think this looks like it could be quirky in a good way, because it's a teamwork game. You got to communicate about, like, solving puzzles. It's got a wonky art style. I don't know. I'm interested. I would like to see more. I don't know if I'd necessarily be in at this point, but I'm in. I'm always interested in something that gives us a new gameplay experience, not just story or not just graphics. Like, I want to play something new. You know what I mean? We got a trailer for Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga. Again, I don't really care about this game. It looks really, I will give it this. It looks really good to the point where its design, its direction, blah, 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 makes me interested. I see Senua stuff and I go, ooh, that's pretty cool. I like that design. But it's never enough to make me want to really fully engage with the game. And I don't know what that is. It's a personal thing. I can't really put a name to it, but Senua just never really spoke to me. And this didn't really speak to me either. I am excited for anybody who does like them, because it does look like it's going to be really pretty at least. But just, I don't have a lot to say about it. Then we got No Rest for the Wicked, which was, so this is from the Ori, the Will of the Forest developers. It is basically their version of Ghost of Tsushima, which, not bad. Like, I'm pretty sure is that the Ghost of Tsushima game? Okay, it is the Ghost of Tsushima. I was right. Shut up. I was right. So yeah, it looks like a Ghost of Tsushima game. I never played the first Ghost of Tsushima. I heard it was great. The only thing that really stopped me from playing it was the fighting, like the gameplay mechanics. I wasn't a big fan of the sort of realistic tank way that they made him play. It was good, don't get me wrong. If, like, when people enjoy it, it's a great system. It just wasn't for me. I like mine to be a little more fast, I like to have a little more control over my characters, right? Like, I like to be able to cancel dashes and cancel moves and all that kind of stuff to just give me the absolute finest control. And it just wasn't there for me with Ghost, but it was really great presentation, really cool story. I'm behind it. So if they can pull this off, Ori is pretty fun. Moon Studios is not a bad developer. This is a giant jump out from them, compared to like 2D action games, but might be cool. I don't think I'll ever end up trying this, just because it is in that sort of Samurai Souls realm, the realistic Samurai Souls. Like, I love Nioh, but I can't do like Sekiro, and so I don't know. More information remains to be seen. That's all we can really say, as with like most of the games on this list, right? Then we got a trailer for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I think we can pull up this trailer because we need to pull up this trailer because I need anything here to spice up my discussion of this non-spicy development, right? So if you are a Dragon Ball fan, you've probably known over the last couple months, I don't remember when they were announced, but it was earlier this year. they announced Budokai Tenkaichi 4, and that was the working title. And now, so previously we only saw a shot of Goku powering up. Now we get a semi gameplay-ish trailer, which we're watching now. And here's my problem. Oh, and they've also renamed the game. It is now a Sparking entry. It's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which, Josh, if you're here, I know you've got to have thoughts on that, because you're the only person I know who actually, and this isn't talking trash on the game like, oh, it's so bad you're the only person, but like, just nobody talks about it. You're the only person I know that is a Sparking fan. Yes, there he is. See, they're finally calling it Sparking 2. So, it's, like, here's my problem with this. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look awful. Truth hits on what I'm getting at exactly. It's basically the normal Dragon Ball game trailer. Because who are we gonna pause on, guys? Yeah, my boy. Like, it looks like it looks like Fighters. It looks like it's playing like Xenoverse 2, right? That's the current one. It just, in this trailer, for this game, more than ever, like, I felt I've seen this before. And, like, I know that's funny to say with Dragon Ball games, where a lot of them are sort of the same goddamn thing over and over and over again, right? We've retread the original manga storyline, like, 48 times. It's a little ridiculous. But I watch this trailer and I just go, I've seen it. Like, it feels like Xenoverse. Like the, where was it? Here, Goku and Vegeta fighting. It feels like a slightly faster Xenoverse. Which, alright, but not necessarily what I was expecting or wanting from this sort of entry. I don't really know. Basically, I don't feel any hype. As a giant Dragon Ball person, right? Like, I don't feel any hype for this game. I struggle right now to even think of, like, what could it offer with what it has right now. You know, disregard, like, obviously we can't reinvent the entire game from the ground up, but what could it offer in this form that it's presenting to us, to me as a player, that sort of is worth re-engaging with everything? And it's like, well, the graphics are very akin to Fighters, but I can just play Fighters for a different style that is actually more akin to the show and their actual fighting. And then the actual mechanics just feel like Xenoverse, which I can play right now. And, like, one of the things they've been touting, or the rumor that is surrounding 4 is that, or the rumor that is surrounding Sparking Zero is that its main selling point is going to be its giant roster of characters. It's going to have a bunch of people that have never been in games, blah, blah, blah. But I've seen how that shakes out in Tenkaichi games and Xenoverse games, where they end up just having generic movesets where they, you know, their beam attack, it's not a Kamehameha, it's not a Gallic gun, it's just like energy beam, and it's the same. It doesn't have substance, and so I'm not getting anything out of this. It bums me out a little bit, because like I said, I love Dragon Ball, but I don't know. I'll obviously keep up to date with it. I will follow the trailers. Obviously, I can't help it. I'm addicted to this stuff, but as of writing, as of now, as of the show, I don't think this is going to be like a day one purchase. Let's see. Talem says, I did enjoy Ghost of Tsushima. If I were to change anything with it, I'd give the main character more weapons to use. Always behind that. Like, I'm always open for more options. I do think, doesn't he have a grappling hook, at least as like a cinematic travel mechanic? Like, that's at least cool. More games need grappling hooks. Yeah, Josh, they're already calling it Sparking. Truth, it's the normal Dragon Ball game teaser. Josh, yeah, Sparking Neo, and Sparking Meteor. Weird that they're calling it Zero. Yeah, but I mean, does it mean anything? That's the thing with, like, Japanese naming conventions. It could either mean everything, like it does in, like, Evangelion 1+1+1, you cannot, like, whatever, or it could mean absolutely fucking nothing with, like, Kamen Rider 01, right? Like, that kind of stuff. So I don't know, Josh. I don't know what the Zero, what does it mean? What does it mean? Yeah, and then Truth kind of hit on the same thing as me. Seen the style in several Dragon Ball game trailers. Like, we've seen it, yeah. Cassie weighs in here. So far, it looks really good. Better than Raging Blast visually, which is saying a lot because the Raging Blast games look really good. All right, girl, hold the fuck up. All right, stop right there. Because Josh says, you and Josh always raise the same argument. You guys always bring up Raging Blast. And you always tout how, like, oh, this was a solid game. This was the... I was about to do, like, my Josh impression. It's not great yet. Still working on my English accent. Oh, mate, you got to play Raging Blast. No, that's not even right. I'm awful at it. We left that country for a reason. Anyway, you got, like, Raging Blast always gets brought up, and yes, it's pretty, but does anybody remember actually playing it? It didn't handle that great. I am baffled. Like, literally, you guys just saw like 5 seconds of stuttering because I'm baffled at how many people love Raging Blast. Yeah, it's not oh god, what was that really bad one? Like Dragon Ball World or whatever it was. Like that game was super ass. But it's weird for me to see all the love that Raging Blast gets. I'm not against it. It's just it's curious to me. Zero says, to be honest, this game has me hyped. The English VA could vanish though. I know everybody, there's always the debate over dub versus sub. I'm with you there, but I always, when it comes to Dragon Ball, I have to go with the English voices because as much as I dislike the people, that's just what I grew up with. That's what it is in my head. When I think Goku, I think Sean Schemmel, yada, yada, yada. I do enjoy the Japanese voice actors a lot, but it's just something about that childhood hit, right? They probably cover up the Truth is saying they probably cover up to the Broly movie for the story. And then he says Kamen Rider 01 is human garbage. And so your first statement I agree with. Your second statement, please send me your address so we can fight in the streets. I really liked 01. I liked I liked all of it. 02, I forget the main character, like the guy's name, and then like Izui, Izu, they're all great. I like 01 a lot. I have it on the... This is what you gotta do, boys. Oh shit, never mind. I was gonna get out my DVD of 01. Holy shit, hold on. And I just ended up knocking everything over. But I'm going to pull this out. Because, yeah, boys, get your Kamen Rider on physical. You got your Black, you got your Ryuki, you got your Kuga, and you got your 01. And this is just what's out right now, so that's all I have. But I one day hope to like have a solid collection of all physical, of all the series and movies and stuff, because that would be neat, wouldn't it, guys? And now I gotta like readjust everything because I've knocked it all over. Physical media, guys, always get it. Oh shit! My mom bought me this. She was at like an estate sale. It's in really good condition. It's nothing really that special. It's just a fun issue with Jarvis, but it just fell out of the bag. Fell out of its board because of all of my stupidness. All right, back to the show. Let's get back here. Whoa, my screen. I will say I don't like a lot of the 01 upgrade forms. Like they're just him, but like a little bigger. Not impressed there. Not impressed. Josh says Raging Blast was quality. Combat was better than the Sparking series, but the learning curve was steep. That is, if you even knew there was a learning curve, because the game doesn't tell you anything. Yeah, right. Like, I can get that, but I also just feel like maybe I need to do my due diligence, and maybe this weekend I need to like boot it up and play it and see if it's what I remember. Because just the way I remember it, I was like, even though I learned, I just didn't care. It just wasn't that great. Ah, true. 01 was the fall of the Kamen Rider franchise. No way. If anything, I'd say Revice. But hey, I will give Gotchard this. I'm really liking Gotchard. I feel like it's really capturing that old school, like, youthful Kamen Rider energy, and I'm super about it. So if you're not watching Kamen Rider Gotchard right now, get your ass on it. So yeah, that's the Dragon Ball game. What is there to say that hasn't been said about every Dragon Ball game before, right? Give all the waifus swimsuit costumes, and then I will day one purchase your game, right? Like that's something different you could do to make me buy your game. Then we had this interesting thing. It's called The Casting of Frank Stone. It's a Dead by Daylight spinoff, and it's like a narrative game, which I don't really know what that. I think that means it's going to be like Until Dawn and the Dark Horror Pictures anthology series, whatever that, like all that crap. But I'll admit I was intrigued because like look at that art design. The trailer is full of a lot of horror, like iconography. I could be about it. We just need to see more. This also might just end up being a game I watched like a let's play of, or not a let's play, like I watched somebody else play because it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of gameplay. Let's see. I don't know why they didn't just put their trailers. GameSpot has all the trailers uploaded to their YouTube, and yet they don't put them anywhere. Like that last. I don't know why they don't put it in that compilation that we were just looking at. Like, see, it's yeah, okay, supermassive, so it's definitely going to be like
It's too dangerous.
an Until Dawn. Interesting. Okay. But see, like, I was intrigued by this trailer just by this cinematic actually got to me. It looked interesting, the character, the premise, yada yada. But then the more I learned about it, the more I was like, can't you just make a movie? Just make movies. Right? Like that hand being burned. I don't. It's got good shots, good cinematography here, and it's just. But it just feels like it's in service of nothing. Timon, I got an overload of bad Kamen Rider. I'm on a break. I don't blame you. Go watch some Metal Heroes, man. Go watch some Daijutsu 27. See, like this is all the kind of cool horror stuff I could get behind. I just don't want to play Until Dawn. Has anybody, maybe Cassie's played Until Dawn if she's still here, but like those games aren't fun gameplay experiences. They really are just glorified choose your own adventures. Like you can walk around the house and explore, but you don't find anything. There's no reason to. Like you might as well just go straight through the game because that's all there is. But anyway, I liked that trailer. I will admit that. I liked the horror imagery. It's on my radar. I'll take a look. We'll see. This was pretty cool. We're getting a new freaking entry in the Mana series. I'm totally in for that. There's not a lot to say because it's just, you see it all here. We're getting Mana and it's coming to everything. Or let's see, not the Switch. That's right. PS5, PS4, Xbox, and PC. So pretty stoked on that. I'm very happy I'm very happy that these old series are all getting some love from Square. Obviously, I know Zero's going to bring it up. I am always cautious with all these releases because we know Square is not the most trustworthy developer when it comes to quality writing or output or anything. So we'll see. Yep, see, he just said it. Damn it. Zero just said it. I don't trust Square, though. But nice that they took hints from the Trials of Mana remake. I didn't even see that before I started talking. I got you. I got your number. Then there's Odd, which we spent a lot of time talking about. Sophia Lillis. Fortnite Rocket Racing, which what this is it's a new game mode for Fortnite developed by the Rocket League guys, Psyonix. It's probably going to be fun. It's probably going to work. It's probably going to perform well because it's Psyonix. However, I'm never going to check it out because I don't give two damn shits about Fortnite. Like, I don't know, man. If Spider-Man, like, if playable Spider-Man, playable Dragon Ball, and, like, playable, that really amazing looking Superman model they have in the game, if those three things, like, if those three releases couldn't get me to play the damn game, I don't know what will. And, oh, yeah, and they have, like, Solid Snake in this new season. Like, that's the thing, is I think I'm fully out of the Fortnite game. Like, I think I'm able to just say no. Truth says Fortnite Rocket Racing is the easiest thing I ever played. Is it just a race? Is that all it is? I have no idea. Like I said, not for me. Looks like Gwen Stacy driving that car though. Talem says Square Enix can get out some interesting manga and anime titles. They can. It's really weird. They have, like, I always forget that they publish manga, but they have like really good series under their publishing imprint. Like that's Square's monthly manga magazine is where Full Metal Alchemist came from, right? Like that's always what's so weird to me. Soul Eater was also in there. It's just all over the place. It always makes me laugh, or not laugh, but it always interests me just to think about that. Josh says, you don't give a shit about Fortnite. What are you, over 12? Bro, I'm over 8 years old. I remember my little cousin used to be super obsessed with Fortnite, and he used to try to get me to play it all the time. And I don't know, man. I just can't. I don't like it. It's not like, here's the thing. It's not a bad game. It feels really good to play. Everything feels tuned. I just don't like it. It's not for me. Maybe it's the kids, maybe it's the HUD, maybe it's the everything, but it's not for me. It's not for me. Fortnite's not for me. The other players suck, so I probably just stop. Playing Fortnite Rocket Racing. Such is the case with many a video game franchise, right? We got this. Oh man, now I get to geek out. So where is that? FF7 Rebirth. This was a cool, different thing that the Game Awards did last night. Rather than a proper trailer, they did an orchestral performance of this of the like Final Fantasy Rebirth theme, and then had this playing behind them, right? And so this made up all the graphics. And let me just say, like, I'm so horny for this game, dude. I'm sorry, like, this is just one of those series where I am the biggest. I will eat up what you throw at me. Like, I love Final Fantasy VII. This all looks great. Like, we just saw, what's his name? It's not Guggenheim. Is it Guggenheim? Yeah, like Red 13's grandpa. He was earlier in the trailer. We get Kate Sith in this one. We get Dine in this one. We get freaking not who the hell was it? Oh my god, it was Sid is in this freaking game.
Is there anything I can do for you?
Look at that. Sid's here. We also get like my favorite character, Vincent Valentine, finally shows up. Hopefully I don't have to do a stupid ass if you guys have not played the original Final Fantasy VII, look, it's Dine. It's Dine.
Want Marlene to see what her father's become?
Promise not to tell?
Dine's cool. I like that arc. That's like Barrett's main story arc.
Man is gonna kill her.
The Staring Man. Who's the Staring Man? Oh, apparently this is a performance of Loveless, like the play, which we've never seen before, which is pretty crazy. I'm super about that. And then you obviously saw Jessie dancing in there, because that was what we learned in the last game, was that's her like day job, is being Jessie, or being an actress in the stage play. But for those who didn't play the original Final Fantasy VII, the way you got Vincent was after like learning so there's a safe that has a key to unlock his coffin. And the way you get him is look at Yuffie! So once you get all it's like one of the like, what the hell do you call it? Like it's not a combination lock, but like the dio locks. And so in the game, you start at 0, and what you have to do is you have to like hold down you have to get to the number via the D-pad, but then you have to land exactly on that number. You can't go over, you can't go under. You have to land right the fuck on it for all like 3 or 4 numbers. And as a kid, I could not do it. I don't know why, and it made me furious. Nowadays, like I play FF7 every like couple years or so. Easy shit. But back then, it made me so angry. And I think I even like did my first playthrough of FF7 without his ass, because I couldn't do it. I remember it took like my cousin coming over and being like, "Step aside, nerd. I freaking got this." And there's your stupid character, dude. But yeah, like I can't. I just don't put him away in don't put him away in a weird, like stupid puzzle like that again. Nojima made a song to insult FF7 for. fans. He's openly spitting on the legacy he himself created. Fuck this game. No promises kept. I do not share your anger here at all. I think that is a sort of meta contextual reading of it that goes too far. When I think no promises kept, I kind of think that this applies more to Eris's story and, you know, her coming back and changing things and trying to fight against the way of the world and all that stuff. I know a lot of fans wanted a straight up remake of Final Fantasy VII, and I was one of them. That would have been really cool. However, I recognize that this is a different experience, but I like this experience a lot. I'm not against it, and I'm enjoying most of what they've added to the lore. I'm trying to think if there's anything that specifically stands out to me that sucks, and not really. So I think you're going to be alone in this one. I don't share that anger. Everything about this trailer made me super excited. That song sounds incredible. I already have like a FLAC version on my computer. So yeah, I don't think that that's what they're going at there. So I don't know. It's as bad as Nomura throwing a versus 13 temper tantrum in Kingdom. Okay, so yeah, Zero, I think you're going way too deep into this. You're like, he's throwing subliminal shit at the audience. It's as bad as Nomura throwing a versus 13 temper tantrum in Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't know where this read is coming from. Like, I don't think he's throwing shit at the audience. At no point did they ever say, like, we are giving you a straight up remake of Final Fantasy VII to a core. Like, I think you're taking that as you're being reactionary to it. You're taking it as it has to be a swing against the fans rather than it has to just, like, what does it have to do with the story, right? And then I don't understand this, like, versus 13 temper tantrum. I think, yeah, that's what that weird, I don't even remember what the fake game in Kingdom Hearts was. Like, that's what that was. But I also think it's deserved because they shit on him. They, you know, that game was really far along in development, and then all of a sudden you just go, no, screw you, we're going to change it and take it away from you. I think you have all right as a creator to go, I'm going to do it anyway, right? Like, I think that's completely okay. So I don't see that. They promised a remake, not fucking Doctor Who, but I mean, this is a remake. It's not a remaster. It is a remake, right? And I don't, when you say like they not Doctor Who shit, that doesn't ring right with me because FF7 is already full of weird Doctor Who-y shit. You know, the plot revolves around siphoning energy off of an alien that fell from space, right? Like, Cloud isn't even technically who he is. Neither is Sephiroth. There are clones. It's also weird that I don't think it's that much out of the ordinary, especially once you have Aerith sort of being the seer, is that the right word? Like the oracle. She's like the oracle of it all. Like, she's sort of guiding them through it. Oh, you absolutely have the right to not buy his product, Zero. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is I disagree with all of your reads of the situation. I don't think anybody there is trying to intentionally antagonize fans. I don't think that theme was made to, you know, turn their noses up at people who wanted a straight up remake. I think that's all I'm saying is I disagree with your read of the situation. Timon, you can leave. This is now a Final Fantasy VII stream. And yeah, exactly, Truth. Like, remake can mean more than one thing. And unfortunately, that's sort of, it's not Final Fantasy's fault, but it's the industry's fault for setting this, like, a confusing standard about what is a remake, what is a remaster, what is a this, what is a that. Because every developer uses it interchangeably. And, you know, is it getting a graphical update? Well, somebody might call that a remake. Is it getting a gameplay update and like a new story beat added to it? Well, now that's a remaster. Well, what the hell are we talking about here? So that's sort of all up in the air, and it's a failure of language, less a failure of them. Because like in the end, at its core, we're still going through that story, albeit from a different angle on it, right? And so you are remaking the story. It's just not a one-to-one remake like we always talk about. Shut up, Timon. You will leave right now. No booing. Don't make me click on this things you missed in the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer video. All right, we will go straight down the rabbit hole into Final Fantasy VII clickbait. Don't make me. But that was really cool. It was a moment I wasn't expecting from the Game Awards. I really liked that presentation too, with the orchestra and everything. If you guys have never done it, there are sometimes video game companies will put on like actual traveling orchestral tours of their like music, and I was lucky enough. I have a friend he's caught like Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, all these, but I was able to. I was lucky enough to catch the Zelda one a couple years ago. I think it was post Breath of the Wild, but man, hearing like those tunes full volume just blaring out in like a state, it's really cool. If you're a video game fan, you're gonna love it. So Zero says the issue is not the game being 1-to-1. Several great remakes aren't 1-to-1. The issue is that they promised a remake and instead we got time travel and a stealth sequel. So that's, again, I don't want to really like spend the rest of the stream arguing about Final Fantasy VII, but it's what truth says, right? They never explicitly said we are going to give you a 1-to-1 perfect remake of Final Fantasy VII. They said we're going to give you a remake, and because that term is so undefined in the industry, because it could mean a whole bunch of different things, and they never clarified. You can ding them for that. They never clarified. A lot of expectations were built up, especially because the announcement for that first remake came in an era when remakes were specifically being, 1-to-1, like we're bringing things back from the grave and we're giving them a better coat of paint. So culturally, that's all that stuff is there to inform it. I still think that this is a remake. I still went through the bombing sector. I still bombed the reactor. I still go to the Golden Saucer. I still have to fight my way through the Shinra Tower. It's all still there. It's just being told in a different perspective. Now, you don't have to like that. And again, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying I feel like the anger is being a little misplaced. And it would be a stronger argument on your half if you just said, I don't like it. I wanted a stronger remake, rather than trying to blame them for not blame several different factors that are sort of out of everybody's control for a miscommunication. Like, I'm not saying you have to love it. I don't care. Like, I don't care if you love it, hate it, whatever. You can go sit with Timon over there while I talk about Final Fantasy. It's just, I think again, you need to be direct in what you're criticizing. Like, the criticism should be direct rather than just saying, oh, they promised us one thing. Like, because I get it, I sympathize, but I also think that there are too many extenuating factors. See, I'm creating a timeline divergence and destroying the original story. I don't see that. I don't see the original story being destroyed. It's still there. The original story is playing into this because that sequel exists. I don't know. I kind of am at least with you in our discussion, Zero, I'm kind of at what do you want? Like, what are we complaining about here? Because and so like nobody's going to change each other's mind. So that I think it's best to just leave it at like, you think you have one read of it. I have another read of it. We don't have to agree on it. We can agree on other games. Not everybody has to agree on the same damn game. I know that eventually when they drop the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, I'm going to have a full live stream of 0 viewers for 4 hours while I just rant and rave about it. So then we got Tales of Kenzera Zhao, which it looked like look at this art style, right? Like, it's like a Fortnite Metroidvania. This is sort of what I was getting at way back at the beginning of that, which is and Zero, I'm not like mad at you or anything, or I'm not like, oh my god, that guy sucks. It's just like, I know where we're at. Like, we're both at the point of our opinions where we've said it and we would just go in circles. So yeah, like I'm making the executive decision. Like, when you're at a restaurant and it's time to leave and one person has to get up, I'm doing that. Truth says, I kind of see the FF7 remake as the continuity of Kingdom Hearts version of Cloud and Sephiroth. That would be cool. I kind of got that vibe from the Scarf or whatever that Cloud is wearing while he's watching Aerith sing. So I'm gonna say let's hope, because I love Kingdom Hearts, and I think Cloud's design in Kingdom Hearts is like the best thing ever. Like as soon as I saw that as like a 13-year-old, I was like, I'm basing my entire identity around that. And then yeah, Josh, we don't have the rights to Black Panther, so here's Tales of Kenzera. It really does feel like it's a wannabe like Black Panther game. I don't want to say it's like so like here. What am I trying to say? Let me explain. On one hand, I'm with Zero, right? Zero says at least props for them for using African mythology for once. I think that's cool. We should definitely be getting more games and stories from like other settings, other cultures and stories. I would really like that personally. Like, as long as you're doing it like, you know, you're not race swapping or doing anything like that. Something like this is how you do it. Unfortunately for me, this does feel a little Black Panther-y because it's not just the Africa setting, but it's like it deals with gods and like family history and stuff. Like it really skirts that line. I know I'm sounding super generic, but if you watch the trailer, you can definitely get that read. But like unfortunately, this just doesn't look appealing visually. Like I said, it kind of looks like Fortnite. Like indie games, indie games these days, or at least non-major produced titles these days, all either have like a pseudo Fortnite look like this, a pseudo, what's the right term? A pseudo sort of more like Skyrim look to it, or a Guild Wars. No, Guild Wars is too complicated. Like a Skyrim, like fantasy look to it, or you have an anime style game, and unfortunately, like everybody is doing the like MiHoYo style like this time around. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, like that. So all that, like I don't find this art style appealing. The gameplay might be good because it's a Metroidvania. I might check it out for like an hour, but aside from that, bleh, I'm good. Timon, I'm not mad at you. I disagree with your opinion, and I have a certain, and I'm sending you to the pit. What was there? Was somebody? Oh yeah. I mean, they do think they're going to build Wakanda. Everybody does. Everybody always does. Oh God. Then we got Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Like, oh yeah. Okay, he is joking. Yeah, I got that now. This game, holy shit! This game, it is literally like, what is it called? Lost Records. Oh, whoops. Final Fantasy is still there. Like, this is the most, I don't know, like, as soon as this trailer started, I was like, oh, I know what this is. I know who this is. I know what I mean, obviously the dev name was there, but, like, see? It's just another Life is Strange game, and if you've played any of them, they're not that great. They are really, really, these games are the equivalent of like Twitter, Tumblr, neoliberal ally posts, like come to life. If you guys get they did, what was their last game? I think it just might have been Life is Strange 2, the one with the brothers, right? Like, for like, here's my example. Here's what I always think of when I think of like Don't Nod games, is there is a, so in Life is Strange 2, the plot revolves around like a brother and his little brother. They're on the run from the authorities because they think they killed their mom or whatever. And so they're on the run. And eventually they get to a diner and they talk to this guy, or the older brother starts talking with this guy and he, starts, he's a, oh man, maybe I can just pull it up because it is so embarrassing, this scene that I'm thinking of. What does everybody have to say while I look for it? Life is Strange 2. That's the Sweet Baby game, right? No, Sweet Baby game was way, way, way before. We already talked about that. This is Don't Nod. This is the Life is Strange developers who suck. And then, yes, Zero, this is Life is Strange meets Stranger Thing. Also incoming failure. Dude, this game is going to drop, like, it's going to shit its pants. Like, it's not going to be great. Oh, come on, just show me the clip. Wow. So that's just whatever. Here, I'll put. Damn it! Everybody like the clips up here, but everybody just has it's all their commentary. That's not helping me. But anyway, there is a scene. So the older brother goes to talk to this guy, and he's like your stereotypical like liberal blogger. Like he's like a fat white guy who's balding with like glasses and like a neck beard, and he's like writing about something. And the Daniel asks, and he's like, "What is that?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "Oh, I'm writing about this movie thing where it tells the lessons about social justice, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh, so you're making it political?" And then the guy like closes his laptop and looks up at him and he goes, "Everything is political." Like that's the line, like that's the bullshit to me that radiates off of this. Especially if you go, all the antagonists are very like paper thin straw men. There's literally a dude in this game who's like, "Oh, you guys are dirty Mexican kids. Stop right there. Don't you do anything. I'm so racist. Build the wall. Build the wall." Like, what is it? It's so pathetic. Like I said, it is a Twitter like ally post, thread on why you should pay more attention to disabled, I don't know, whatever, penguins. Like, it's one of those threads come to life. Josh, I don't even know if this is self-insert the game. This feels like straw man the game, right? Like, this feels like I'm gonna own the chuds the game, and it's not even that. It just feels it's somebody who is experiencing arrested development, working out their issues, right? Like that's what it is, and it just doesn't feel appealing at all. So oh my god, oh no, that's just the Frank Stone thing. Then we got a trailer for, so this is an interesting one. We are getting a Marvel's Blade game from Arcane Leon, which is, so Arcane Studios, you guys might know them, you might love them, you might hate them. They got on the map for developing the Dishonored series, which are pretty fun. They also made that game Deathloop, which is, your mileage may vary. Then they got enough people to make two different studios, and their second studio made the Prey remake, or not even remake, like just Prey 2017, the game that uses the name of the old one. And that game was great. That game's really fun. It's really interesting. And then that same studio that made, oh my God, what's the freaking game? Whatever game I just said. Oh my God, why am I, Prey. The division that made Prey, they got tagged to make Redfall. Now, I'm not going to go back into Redfall. We should all know how disastrous that is. The Xbox Live or the Xbox Game Pass game that just sucks. It's just bad. To Arcane's credit, it's not really their fault. If you kind of go look in behind the scenes, it was a lot of corporate pushing, a lot of corporate bullcrap. And so I kind of give them a little pass on that. But they still have to prove themselves. And apparently this is going to be a third-person action-adventure game starring Blade, which, honestly, who knows? Who knows how this is going to go? It could be great. It could be awful. This was just a cinematic trailer. Yeah, we are where that's where we're at. I will say Blade looks really good in it, and I'm excited to see a good Blade production, because we all know that the MCU movie is just, it's probably not even happening. Let's be 4,000% honest with ourselves. Mahershala Ali is going to like kick Mickey in the nuts and walk out like next week. Square is publishing this one too, right? Because this is going to be another black eye for them. If so, yeah, Square sold off their entire American game division. They did, but I don't know the publishing. Are they not publishing this one? I'm just going to check real quick. Life is Strange. What is this one? Oh my God. Wow. New Life is Strange. I'm just going to type that in. Wow, this is so riveting. This is the content we all show up for. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage is being published by them. Don't Nod Montreal. So it looks like they're doing it on their own. I guess they're all self sustainable nowadays. I guess that's it. No idea. Truth says, I'm worried about the Blade game due to what we see at the start. Like, are they going to use the Christian stuff we see at the start to diss it or respect it? So we'll pull it up. I actually think it's respect because Blade game. Oh, I didn't know Bethesda has a hand in it. Oh, I think that's who might own Arcane. I think so. Whoops.
Votre attention, le soleil est sur le point de se coucher. Tous les citoyens sont priés de se mettre à
So they're in
l'abri en intérieur
France, if
du
you couldn't
salon.
tell.
Attention, the sun is currently setting. All citizens are required to shelter indoors.
So see, I'm pretty sure all of this is here as like anti-vampire precautions. I don't think they're mocking it because you've also got various other religious iconography in there. You've got dream catchers, you've got a menorah. I think this is just genuinely like, I gotta ward off all possible demons. Get the hell away from me. I gotta make myself safe.
Turn that shit up.
Especially because vampires, right? Like that's what you hit them with crosses. And like he's wearing a cross like himself. And see, like he touches it.
Relax, man. I don't bite.
Josh, it's coming out like 2 years from now. It's after 2019 or after 2010. You're not playing it anyway. I like those glasses, man. They did the 70s style glasses right.
Night's just getting started.
So that's the Blade game. We don't really know a lot. I definitely think that the religious stuff is going to be positive, as in anti-vampire. Like you want to have that around you. One thing I really liked of all that stuff is over here on the right. There's like a water cooler for holy water. I'm not sure if that's actually how they have it in churches, but I thought that was a funny idea. But yeah, it might be cool. Arcane Lyon, like the main studio, pretty good track record. It's not being handled by the Redfall guys, so I'm open to it. It could be really cool. From what I saw in this trailer, it seems like they really actually do care about Blade. Like they got those glasses, put him in that 70s era. A detail that they put in that a lot of people forget is that Blade's katana does not have a hilt. It has the handle and then it goes into the blade, and they got that at the end. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Zero. This is more Blade than whatever Marvel wants that series to be. It's not even a series; it's a movie. Remember, which will not happen because it's just going to be setting up Blade's daughter. Hold up, was that the brown jacket from the OG comic? Let's take a look. I didn't check. It genuinely might be, considering like the glasses and stuff.
Lock up tight now.
Oh, I think you're right.
Night's just getting started.
Yeah, especially if you look right,
Lock up tight.
like right here. Hold on. Oh, it moved. But it's the knives like on his side. That makes me think that this is the brown jacket. Like here, Blade original costume. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Pardon me. Yeah, dude, this rules. Also, we were both wrong. It's green, but it looks like they're going that route. So, like, that's what I mean. If you go and, like, they had obviously it was the Game Awards, where there was a small presentation where they had the Arcane Studios director and the director of Marvel Games come up and kind of talk about the game. And when the Arcane guy talks, if you go check it out after the show, you can tell he actually does really like this character. He wants to do a Blade thing and he wants to make it crazy. And so again, there's that genuine passion and enthusiasm that I'm going to support no matter what, which means I'm going to be a little interested in this as it goes along. Hopefully it turns out good. If they go third-person action-adventure, they better pray to God they get the combat system right, because if you, like we talked about, third-person games with awful combat mechanics, not good. Yeah, Dude, so 70s, isn't it? Zero, like, to me, it's like the glasses. That's super 70s to me. Like, who wears that? Who wears the like ski goggles out like just on a normal day? But that's Blade. Might be cool. As with everything, we just kind of just have to wait and see. Obviously, it's going to be a Bethesda game, so if you got Game Pass, it'll be there day one. Enjoy. We got this really cool game called Mecha Break. Shit. I'm going too fast. Which it essentially looks like. No, I want this. Yeah, so this game was probably the main one that made me go, oh, there's actually something cool at the Game Awards. Like, I'm interested in this. Essentially what we're looking at is a new mecha game, a co-op mecha battle arena thing. I don't know, man. When I watch this trailer, my brain just goes like 12-year-old lizard boy. Like, I just go, I want it. I want it. I want it. It reminds me of Armored Core mixed with Armored Core 6 mixed with a little Virtual On, you know, a little more of that speed and arcade feeling to it. I really, really want to play it. And yeah, if this game turns out good and it like, you know, like, I'll be honest, if it has amazing customization, this might be like the last video game I ever played. Vampires in France. Last time we saw that, they turned the MC into a cryboy. Oh, what is that? What are you talking about? I remember. They're just responding to Armored Core. Hey, even if they are, I'll take it. Look at this. The more mecha we can get, the more genuinely good mecha games we can get, the more I am about it. But yeah, must be yes, Nocturne. Thank you. That's exactly what it was. Castlevania Nocturne. Thank you. I knew it. Truth. I was like, I remember we've talked about this. But yeah, that looks really good to me. I love mecha games. I love arena, fast-paced combat stuff. So if it delivers, I'm gonna be eating good. I'm excited. Palia, I genuinely don't have anything to say about this. It's a life sim game. If you like it, you might like it. Light No Fire is the next game from the No Man's Sky guys. Again, I really don't know what else to say about this one. We've all learned our lessons with Hello Games, so it's kind of just wait and see at this point with this one. Especially with this one, probably more than any, is the trailer that's going to be, we gotta wait and see what actually happens. Because we all saw what happened with No Man's Sky. Like, props to them, they brought it back, and apparently the game is freaking fantastic now, and everybody's playing it. But that launch was really, 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 really bad. Oh god. So this game. This is a new RTS. It is currently being kickstarted, and I don't want to spoil the surprise. I want to just bring the video in. Let's see. Light No Fire is definitely the game I'm most interested in since it takes place on one planet, meaning the modding will be amazing, says Truth. Yeah, I could totally get that. I laughed a little bit that it was just like, now we're doing one planet with multiple biomes, because I'm like, oh, that's literally what so it's just No Man's Sky again, but smaller, or like on a smaller scale. Not bad, not necessarily bad, just made me laugh. So more elephants with penises for noses. Hey, if it's a good game, if it's a good Hello Games game, then yes, that's absolutely what we will be seeing. Let's see. Woo! Whoa. Yeah. Oh, I could just do that. And so this game had a very special presenter show up on screen.
Now, please welcome actor Simu Liu.
Oh, wait. This isn't even this year. Oh my god, he's been there before. I didn't realize that. God. Oh, I hate him so much. There it is. This stupid ass.
Remember, that comes from an independent team. Absolutely incredible. I've been waiting for years to show that to you. And again, created by the team at Hello Games.
So basically,
very exciting.
all I really have to say about this
see games like
is,
that show kind of the next decade of work.
As far as Stormgate is concerned, I don't really care. It doesn't have a good visual. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel like it plays good. It feels very generic, right? Add the cherry on top of that is that game was promoted by Simu Liu. Oh, and also it's on Kickstarter. It's not even a real game yet. Simu Liu comes out here. We're not gonna listen to it because I just cannot fucking stand him. If you know me, you know how much I hate this man. How much I think he's full of shit. How fake he is. How I have it on good authority from a source that he is a giant douchebag in person, and this is a source close to the Hollywood careers. I'm not gonna blow it up. I know quite a few people, but I wish I broke his knee, Truth. I don't know what the hell that's about. But Simu comes up here, he tries to make a lot of like, oh yeah, that was the total noob strat. Like he tries to do like lingo. He just feels so fake, and his career feels forced. And I literally, as soon as this happened, I got like 5 text messages from friends. And then over the course of the night, as people were starting to like catch up on the show and like watch it after, I got probably like 4 more being like, hey, did you watch the Game Awards? Your favorite's there. I just wanted to bring it up because I hate him, and he was there, and I just cannot stand the guy. And he was like, of course he was presenting a freaking game that's not even out yet that you have to go kickstart that might not even get made. And that looks like a mobile game. Let's see, is there even footage of it in here? Let's see if we can find footage of that bullshit, because here. And yes, Simu is a voice in this game, which is why whoops, I went all the way to the end. Simu's a voice in this game, and it's just like so Simu and his plastic career. Dude, plastic career is really a good description for Simu. Yeah, Zero, it's like Geekdom 1-to-1 mentioning I Love Brie Larson as a joke. Right, like, I hate him. But yeah, Hollywood actors, especially arrogant fucks like Simu Liu, have no business talking about video games. There was one... Wait, isn't there gameplay in this? Okay, there it is. Hold that thought, because here comes the gameplay. It feels like a League clone. That's really what that is. Or not a League clone. Well, it's like a League. It looks like League art style, and then you get StarCraft gameplay.
Fight, cower. Either way, your world will fall.
I don't think that's Simu. That's just the bad guy, but. Like, for him to come out and he's like, oh, I'm at the Game Awards, fuck yeah. And then he promotes a very bland-looking RTS game that's in early access and on Kickstarter still. Like, what? Literal scraping. Like, this is everything that's wrong with video games nowadays. Celebrities and spectacle and early access and robbing people of their money before the final product is out. Everything else be fucking damned. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And that segment of the Game Awards just encapsulates all of that. Yes, Dota as well, Timon. Dota as well. Zero says feels like a joke for sure. Like, all of it just looks bad. Oh, we'll get to Elfit. We'll probably end with Elfit because she's not. Oh, she's the next one. Oh, I thought Elfit was not going to be in here because she was just like DLC and not a character. But yeah, dude, this sucks. I'm not a big fan of this. So, Shayla.
Thank you all for waiting. Time for Elfelt Valentine.
So,
Sing her heart out.
Elfelt Valentine. This is a return. So, Guilty Gear. Yes, we're here. This character, she is a returning character. She has been in the games before. However, this is a completely brand new design, and it's kind of bad. So you can kind of see what we're working with. It's a weird, almost like a dress, or like what am I trying to say? Like a maid dress type thing. She's wearing boots. It's nothing particularly egregious. It's if not very generic, right? But the problem is, if this had been an original character, she probably wouldn't have been super popular, but this might have been received better. Let me FL back. Oh, whoop. Sorry, I really like that theme. But see, here's where the problem comes in, is that, like, so this is the outfit we have now, but what she used to look like, so now she's like a VTuber idol pop star thing, but what she used to look like was this, and like, yes, booba aside, like she still clearly has booba here, but this is like safe horny because it's all covered up. But like, look at this. This is a unique design. This makes me go, what the hell is going on here, right? This screams Guilty Gear. I'm especially a big fan of her like giant like ears, and her if you see, she has like giant cuffs on her collar. Here, I can probably zoom in. Oh, I'm in the wrong window. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, see, like right there. And then she's got like her gun. Pretty cool design. And now we trade that in for whatever the hell this is. Right? It's just I feel like that's a downgrade. What about you guys? Right? Like, you kind of took everything that was super unique about her and neutered it. Like super neutered. Like, everything here just feels bleh. I don't feel inspired or like, I don't know. You know what this feels like? This feels like a Tumblr original character, and this just feels like an actual Japanese character. So, yeah, oh no! Is the stream farting? Hopefully the stream comes back. Let's not worry. Yeah, Guilty Gear fucking up every returning character since Testament. Timon, we need a Command and Conquer type game with hot girls playing the army's leaders. That's just Red Alert. Go play Red Alert. Josh says, why not just give her a burqa, right? At this point. I mean, that's kind of what Arxis wants to do with everybody. Truth says won't play due to Arxis. So here's I have a very complicated relationship with Arxis, because I think they make the best fighters. Their presentation is the best. Their graphics look the best. The style looks the best. The feel looks the best. The music looks the best. Look at Fighters, like Dragon Ball Fighters, amazingly encapsulates everything about that show. Guilty Gear Strive, as fucked up as all the designs and everything that we'll talk about are, it is very tight. So, like, I love them for that. But then they do a bunch of stupid shit like this. Like, this is, like Zero was saying, Testament got censored. Bridget, that whole debacle. Now we have Elfet. I never got her name right. I'm never gonna get it right. Just bear with me. Elfet, like, she's been neutered too, and it's just so, like, Arxis, you have me torn, man. Like, I'm so torn on you, Arxis. Why is Arxis even fucking with this game? Only DNF Duel is faring worse than Strive in the FGC. They're still, because here's the thing. This game is this is the, like, the whole Bridget thing, like, because of that, this has to be their landmark, like, moment. This is where they have to, like, plant their flag. This is where they have to fight. They're going to keep supporting this game to keep doing this. There's also, like, there's also the level where, like, yes, Guilty Gear's also always had sort of a smaller base, but nobody's really picking up Strive. I don't feel like it's bringing back old players or in new players. It's just sort of caterwauling to the current stock of Guilty Gear players. So I don't know. I would much rather play as this or buy figures of this outfit than the other one, because the other one just feels, again, hyper generic. That's what all of this is. That's the theme tonight. Everything is just being genericized and having everything shaved off, any edges or rough bits, because it's not safe for work. It's not safe for advertising. It's not safe for the 12-year-olds who shouldn't be on Twitter in the first place. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, you guys were all talking about my stream stuttering. Yeah, Maury jumped out of the company at the right time, right after he finished his Blaz Blue story. I liked Blaz Blue. That was fun. That was a fun little time. Timon says, I played Red Alert. I want a new game with new hotties. Completely fair. And I'm right there behind you. Get me the new hotties RTS, right? Let's just make that. There it is, hotties. Zero says, when the Bridget shit happened, I swore to myself that they will never see a penny from me again. And that's completely fair. Like, again, I don't disagree with you for doing that. I totally get it. I haven't given them money for Guilty Gear. Like, I don't have it. I've played it at friends' house and stuff. I don't have Guilty Gear myself. Didn't want to give them the money. I obviously I play fighters, but that's because it's Dragon Ball. They got me. But yeah, like, completely fair that you don't want to give them money. There are companies I personally am like with that, and it's just like, I feel like there are too many to list right now. But, like, EA is one of them. I don't buy any EA games because fuck them. So I totally get you there. Biken failed to move the needle for the game, and that was big because that's like a big returning character, right? Almost like the headliner of the series, or at least the headlining horny bait. So massive L, Arxis, massive L. So then we got news on the Final Fantasy 16 DLC. Looks cool, I guess. I haven't played 16 yet. I don't know. I haven't engaged with, like, the story or the characters or anything, so I don't know nothing about it. I know it looks really pretty. I love it looks really great. I love the icon designs because they all glow, and you guys know how I feel about lights and particle effects and shit. So, of course, they're going to speak to me. But yeah, FF16 DLC, I guess it's coming soon. You can buy it today ahead of its spring release, which is odd. But then we got Monster Hunter Wilds, a brand new Monster Hunter title. It might be connected to Worlds. No, I have a lot of friends who are giant Monster Hunter fans who have been, like, speculating over the image for, like, a couple days, or, like, the last day, and that's one of the theories they're throwing out because of the shared Monster Hunter logo. If you're a big Monster Hunter fan, you probably are stoked on this. I'll admit, even I was a little stoked, and I'm not the biggest Monster Hunter fan. I'll occasionally check one out if it happens to be one that all of my friends are checking out, but I've never really been one to sink, like, hours and hours and hours into my Monster Hunter. So this is probably going to be good. It'll probably be a great experience for you Monster Hunter fans. I best of wishes to you. That's all I can really say. Like, I have nothing to say about it. Zero says, FF16 DLC ain't gonna move the needle. The game itself already didn't give Square the sales they wanted. So, on one hand, like, yes, it's not going to move the needle. Of course it's not. It's DLC. DLC rarely, if ever, gets people to go out and grab the base game, right? Now, the sales, I don't know where you're speaking from, Zero, and I assume you're probably speaking with the same knowledge I have. I'm just going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But just as an aside, because it always bugs me, a lot of people always go, oh, FF16 failed. It didn't sell. It was a bomb for Square. And it's like, it didn't sell amazingly, but it wasn't a bomb. Like, this wasn't a Forspoken. This wasn't like it was, it did fine. Yes, it undersold their massively overblown expectations, but it still sold fine, right? So, again, I don't think you're coming from that angle. I always got to bring it up. Yeah, Timon says, tried Monster Hunter, didn't do it for me. I'm there with you, or rather, I understand that because they're not for everyone. It took me like 2 Monster Hunter games to finally have it click for me. And again, it was like, the combat was weird to me, the crafting, yada 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 yada. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all know how it is. And then yeah, the final announcement of the night was Baldur's Gate 3 is now on Xbox. If you care, enjoy. But then, yeah, why is that not here? I guess the biggest thing of the night was Sega's kind of reveal that I guess they're remaking. These are remakes that they're doing. At least that's what I just learned from the title. I thought prior to this that they were new games, but this is like the most exciting thing because this is like the first time anybody's mentioned a Jet Set Radio in 500 million years. Like, it's mind blowing to me, and that's why like I held out hope it was a sequel. But if it's really just going to be remakes, then, and I mean, Crazy Taxi, freaking love that game.
Did you save the game?
Really?
You can't save Sonic, stupid. Capcom had the Dragon's Dogma 2. That was pretty big. If you're like me and you're a Dragon's Dogma fan, it was a pretty big announcement. See, I can't tell, like, are they classifying these as remakes or are they new games? I don't know. But they all look pretty fantastic. You've got Shinobi, you've got Golden Axe, you've got Lost, like Crazy Taxi. Look at that. If these are like remasters or whatever, they're way more, they've just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what these are, but they all look pretty damn great, and I'm excited. Especially seeing Beat being able to like climb up everything and like run around. I also like that end of the commercial. Right, Cassie? I was like, oh, cool. Oh, wait, those are like new, that's like new gameplay. That is not the original like Jet Grind Radio. That is Beat in a new environment. That is new footage. We've never seen that before. I'm excited for the Sega stuff. I'm really happy with Sega lately. I feel like they had a rough couple of years in the early 2000s, late just probably the 2000s, early 2010s. But I feel like they're on an upswing. Yakuza's doing great for them. Sonic is doing better. He's not recovered fully yet, but he's doing a lot better than he was. And now we're getting this. Like Sega's cooking. Sega is straight up cooking. And then yeah, just a quick aside, Zero, I did see that they're shutting down Omnia Opera Omnia. There's also, I don't know if you caught it, like a couple weeks back, Square Enix put they had 40, okay, 40 is probably an exaggeration, but a good, probably a dozen different live service gacha games in development, and now they put the brakes on all of them. That, I think everybody's realizing that the tide of live service is changing. We don't want to be here anymore. Truth says, once I get Tycho on Monday, there's not much other games I'm gonna get. Do you mean for the year? Because that's kind of unfair. The year's done. There's nothing left, my man. Don't diss you. I love Jet Set. I love Jet Set Radio Future. I love Jet Grind Radio. I play those games all the time. I listen to the soundtracks all the time. I love them. True. So I'm not dissing them. Hey, Maddie, what's it going, my man? Yeah, how's it going? Yeah, Timon says Square Enix is overcomplicating Final Fantasy games. Go back to turn-based. I agree with that. I don't like the action-adventure way it's going. I like the Rebirth system for what it was, but I could use some turn-based. I could get that right into my veins again. Yeah, Zero, see, it seems like actual new games, but then if you saw, yeah, right up here, it says officially they're remakes, up here in the corner on the actual video title. So that's why I'm confused. I don't know, but I'm stoked. I'm in for him. I want that Jet Grind Radio, mainline it into me. Replace my blood with that game disc chopped up. Cassie says, whatever the games are, whether the games are remix or new games, the fact that they at least acknowledge their classic franchises is a step in the right direction for Sega. Totally agree there. Especially these are franchises that are just sitting there. They've done nothing with them. They've always just they're kind of hanging out, and they have a lot of goodwill left. So I think you combine that goodwill with Sega's obvious recovery, rehabilitation, and the fact that they actually showed video games at the Game Awards. I think Sega's looking really strong. I would bet pretty strong on Sega. I'm most interested walking out of this in the Sega games after Mech Break, of course, because I'm gonna lose myself to that. But good job, Sega. I'm interested. I am here for you. Make a Dreamcast 2 while the iron is hot. Zero says, I don't think Sega is able to repeat what Streets of Rage 4 was. Probably not. That was something super special, but let's see what they throw at us. Again, that Jet Set Radio looked great. Like, Beat can now move freely instead of just like standing there and hovering, coasting against the wall when you're idle. Cassie says, Sega also said that more is to come, so I wonder what other franchises they are going to tap into that they have forgotten about. Dude, so many of them. I bet your best bet would be to go watch like the Sonic movies, and you know the opening credit thing, like the Sega movie credit, how it has all like the video games in it. Probably just go there, pause, check out what they all got. I mean, they've got like Altered Beast. I'll bring that back. Comics Zone is still theirs. What else do they got? They got a lot. That I like, oh yeah, they got a lot, and I can't like name a single one off the top of my head because I'm being very, very brain dead. I don't know if it's a rehab. Sega is on ESG payroll after all, and it shows with their localizers for both Persona and Yakuza. So yes, but at the same time, I have to objectively look at the state that the quality of the games and the output that the company was in years ago and where they are now. They have objectively gotten better. They've objectively improved. Now, the ESG stuff, that's a separate conversation from where they are now. That's a whole different like turkey. But right now, all the games they've been putting out have been top tier quality. You have the Yakuza games, they're all fantastic. You have the Persona series blowing people away. Boom. You have Sonic on a big upswing. Like, again, Frontiers wasn't the best, but lots of people loved it. Same with Superstars. So compared to when we were in 2009 and somebody said, oh, Sega's making a game, and you went, oh great, remember Sonic 2006? The company's come a long way. And yeah, Cassie, thank you. Alex, I saw him in my head, but for some reason I was going to say Link just because of the pointy ears. I knew that was wrong in my brain, but yes, Alex Kidd, bring back Alex Kidd. Let's see what he's doing. Space Harrier, I think, is still theirs. They've got the Phantasy Star games. Give us a new Phantasy Star entry. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, the Sega showcase was probably the most exciting thing and probably the most positive, exciting. What's the word I'm looking for here? Interesting. Now I'm just scrambling because I lost the page. There we go. But with that, I think we have been at this for over 3 hours. This is easily our longest stream. I thank every single one of you for helping make that happen. Zero says, I mean, Sonic Frontiers was good. Superstars was not a disaster. I only don't give Frontiers like the solid good praise because I have seen too many people divided on it, and I haven't gotten a chance to play it myself. But I do know it's like leaps and bounds better than everything else that Sonic has been through in recent years. Like, it's way better than Forces, better than everything but Mania. Like, it's better than Forces, it's better than all that crap. So good job, Sega. A Phantasy Star single player RPG would be very interesting in modern day, right? Let them back into the RPG sphere. Obviously, they're doing that with like a Dragon Gaiden, right? The spinoff, Like a Dragon, the Yakuza spinoff. So they've got the chops still. They could easily do it. Phantasy Star is a name I haven't heard in ages, right? Right. Like, I was digging deep for that one. As soon as I hit it, I was like, oh, I can only see this thing in like 16 bits. I don't think they've ever evolved past that. The movies definitely erased the general public's memory of 06. Yes, the movies totally helped Sonic, but so have some solid games and some pretty decent animated outings. I am a big fan of Sonic Boom. The game itself, garbage. Really do avoid. But the show, pretty funny for what it is. Like, it does get some genuine laughs out of me. But yeah, I think with that, it is a good time. We've been at this for 3 hours. I think this is a perfect time to wind things down, say goodnight. I have a lot of bounding into comics work that I should be doing instead of hanging out with you guys. But you know what, damn it? It's Friday night, and I wouldn't miss being here for the world. Obviously, as you guys know, you can catch me every day on Bounding Into Comics, whether it's an article or a video. We're always putting something out. Check it out. We've got a lot of new stuff coming down the pipeline. It's a big moment it's a big time of change over at Bounding as we transition from John's leadership to mine. So stay tuned. Let's see. I'm cooking. I'm hoping to do right by you guys, and I thank you for your support. If you want to, you can catch me I will next be live next Wednesday on Bounding into Comics on the 01 stream, where you can catch me with Cider, Josh, and Jacob talking all the latest Hollywood news, the bigger news stories, you know, the Marvel, the Disney, the DC, all of that. You can catch me next week, same Mav time, same Mav channel, here for another episode of The Good, the Mav, the Ugly. As always, who knows what the hell we're going to talk about? The week has yet to surprise us. Let's see. I'm going to close out with the last of these chats. Frontiers had the best writer Sonic ever had. I've heard that. I mean, but to be fair, Zero, it's a very low bar. It's a very, very low bar. But again, I've only heard good things about Sonic Frontiers, and the criticisms I have heard are like they're ones that make me go, I got to see this for myself before just like, you know, they're the criticisms where you go, yeah, I can see that. Then there are ones where you're like, let me verify. So that's where I'm at with Frontiers. Hopefully, I can get a chance to play it someday, but who knows? Cassie says, that was an awesome stream, bro. Have an amazing weekend, Spencer, and everyone in the chat. Girl, I'm just happy to have seen you. Thank you for stopping by. You know that if you're streaming this weekend, I will probably be somewhere in the chat, even if I'm not talking. Zero, yes, Sonic Mania, exactly. I had to make that note because it was like, duh. That game, I think about that game and I get lost in it, and it just puts me like in a different plane of existence. I love that game. Sonic Mania is fantastic. Cassie says, kill it at Bounding. I'm trying, Cassie. I'm trying to do this for all of you, for everybody who's here, from Cassie to Timon, Zero, Truth, Matt, Josh, Shinkai, Ravul, all of you guys. Like, I'm here. I'm trying to do this for you. I'm trying to do right by you guys. And then, yeah, I'm here on Friday nights to just kick back, relax, and try to bring some levity to all this crap that we have to deal with every single day of the week. Truth says, I heard the new cartoon is pretty good. I have too. Here's the thing. I have only not checked it out because it is a multiverse story, and I personally can't do them anymore. I right now I'm multiverse burnt out. Maybe in like 4 years I'll get an itch and be like, oh, okay, I'll go watch Sonic Prime. But until then, I don't think that's going to be happening. But with that, I think it is time to say goodnight. You've been streaming, Zero? Where are you streaming? Send me that link. Oh my God, I didn't even know. Of course I'd watch it. Are you kidding me? But yes, with that, I think it is time for our last call for last minute news. And I think tonight's entry, let's put it that way, is very relevant to everything we have been talking about tonight. This was probably the last time the Game Awards was any good. Let's check it out.
We're here, we're celebrating this. Look, the Oscars should fuck themselves up. This is the shit. I'm telling you, this is the real shit. What is this? This is the interactive gaming. Look, I'm just saying this. Let me tell. I'm sorry, I'm taking. Let me just give me a minute. I want to take your time. Look. Okay, can you swear here? Can you swear? Okay. Fuck the Oscars, you know? Fuck the Oscars. Fuck you. I'll tell you. This is bullshit. Look, here's the thing. Yeah. The gaming industry is an interactive experience where you feel it in your heart.
You did a lot of films, and now you're in games.
Yeah,
right?
You know, I've done 6 features, but I don't care. But okay, we're here to talk about a way out. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's get into your game.
I'm sorry. Right. I'm a little bit jet lagged, so that's why I'm a bit. And I'm excited.
So Joseph, a way out. Co-op game. You showed it.
Legitimately, like, I love that guy. He's just so passionate. He's so full of the energy, and he just came straight out and told, big award shows to fuck off. So I think that's what we have for tonight. I'm obviously looking forward to talking to all of you, whether it be on Discord, Twitter, this stream next week, the Bounding stream, Cassie stream, Jacob's stream, where I am going right now. Come join me over at Jacob's Twitch for the Friday night movie night. We're going to be watching Escape from New York. It's fantastic. I think they might have already started. We totally ran super late tonight, but join us over there. And I think with all that, yeah, right, the truth. And then with that, the Game Awards became just like the Oscars. Awesome. So, I'm saying awesome because Zero dropped his Twitch handle. So now I'm going to go follow you as soon as this is over. But I think with that, we're done for the night. And I hope that everybody here takes it easy.